The proposed amendment to the ArcelorMittal Mineral Development Agreement now before us is not a routine administrative exercise. It is a consequential restructuring of one of Liberia's most strategic concession agreements, and it demands sober and rigorous scrutiny. At first glance, the amendment is presented as a restated and consolidated agreement that merely incorporates prior amendments. In substance, however, it records a fundamental change in the identity of the principal owner. All rights and obligations are now being assigned from ArcelorMittal Switzerland AG to ArcelorMittal USA Liberia. A newly structured entity that operating across jurisdiction. The question now is, how can a change of company occur on December 9, 2025, and the MDA agreement is signed December 20, 2025, barely 11 days after? Who then was the government negotiating with? Is it ArcelorMittal Switzerland or ArcelorMittal USA? These unanswered questions create doubts about enforceability, accountability, and undue leverage under this agreement. While it may assert that obligations are transferred in full, accessions alone are not safeguards. There is a clear absence of explicit parent company guarantees, continuity clauses that preserve liability for past breaches, and enforceable security instruments that protect Liberia in the event of default, arbitration, or adverse rewards. Without these, there is a real risk that historic obligations and violations of the OMDA may be diluted, even if not in theory. A concessionaire cannot be permitted to repackage itself in a manner that weakens accountability while retaining access to our mineral wealth and strategic infrastructures. Equally troubling is the use of a restated consolidated MDA without explicit preservation of accrued rights, unresolved breaches, penalties, and defaults under the original MDA and its prior amendments. Unless the legislature expressly secures continuity of liability, the process risks obscuring outstanding obligations owed to the Republic of Liberia and to the affected community, particularly Nimba County. Beyond corporate structure and governance that I have just mentioned, the revised concession framework before the legislature proposes to treat the entire concession area, including multiple mineral rezones, unutilized land, and future exploration area, as a single production area. I strongly oppose this approach. A production area is not and cannot be left open-ended. It is a legal authorization to extract, one that restricts land use, exposes community to environmental and social impacts, and effectively locks resources away from alternative developments. Declaring areas as a productive area where no mining is taking place and may not take place for many years amounts to surrounding regulatory control without corresponding benefits and government failure. Mining does not occur anywhere at once. That reality is precisely why sound laws and international best practice recognize phased development, area by area, to be improved, and relinquish of unused zones. Collapsing all concession lands, especially in Nimba County, into a single production destination opens the door to mineral warehousing under the guise of integration. Let me be clear, ladies and gentlemen of the press. The railroad and port are integrated infrastructure. The minerals are not. Infrastructure efficiency cannot be used to preemptively encumber underdeveloped mineral resources and land. For the people of Nimba County and the entire Liberia, this issue is not an isolated one. Communities should not live indefinitely on land declared productive while remaining underdeveloped, undercompensated, and constrained. Development delay is development denied. Ratification should not mean abdicating of duties and national properties. If ArcelorMittal is ready to mine additional areas, those areas should be brought forward, justified, and approved on their own merits. Until then, undeveloped zones and land must remain outside of the production area and subject to future legislative ratification and regulation. My concerns are further deepened, and this is one of the most worrisome aspects of this press conference today. My concerns are further deepened by the treatment of social infrastructure obligations. As Senator of Nimba County, I have consistently called for retroactive implementation of the existing ArcelorMittal MDA because of the clear and documented violations. The current and prior agreement explicitly require the construction and equipping of roads, bridges, hospitals, health centers, schools, and related facilities. Those obligations, while often unmet, at least they exist in binding ratified laws, but the proposed third amendment before us omits all of these social infrastructure commitments entirely. Instead, it suggests that a separate social impact or infrastructure plan for Nimba Bong Bassa will be developed within 3 months after legislative ratification. That approach is unacceptable. It weakens legislative oversight. It removes enforceability. It removes enforceability obligation from the agreement itself and weakens legislative oversight and asks affected communities to rely on future promises rather than binding commitments. Given the history of non-compliance by ArcelorMittal, this legislature cannot responsibly ratify an amendment that defers core community obligations to post-ratification instrument of uncertain legal force. The IMCC, meaning the Interministerial Committee on Concession or whatever it is, must provide this legislature a comprehensive social impact framework for community development outlining clear timelines and schedules for implementation as an appendix to this draft agreement before ratification consideration. Also, the legislature must request all transfer documents and beneficial ownership affidavit of ArcelorMittal Switzerland AG and ArcelorMittal USA LLC. An audited financial statement from AML as of 2005 to establish 1. Reported financial gains and losses, facts about profits and dividends, and total investment package and total investment return. This position is not anti-investment. It is a pro-Nimba and pro-Liberia position. It is pro-rule of law. It is pro-community. Liberia welcomes responsible investment, but no investor is above accountability, and no concession is too large to be governed by clear, enforceable, and ratified obligations. Ladies and gentlemen of the press, my key takeaway here today is that until liability continuity is unequivocally secure, parent guarantees are provided, strategic infrastructure is firmly governed under the ratified law, production areas are properly delineated, and social infrastructure obligations are explicitly included within the agreement itself, approval of this third amendment would be premature. The people of Nimba County and the people of Liberia deserve better than uncertainty, deferred promises, and weakened oversight. As their senator, I will continue to insist that concession compliance is not optional and that development must be real, enforceable, and just. I thank you, and I will now take your questions and answer, whereby we'll be providing more details if any question are asked.
We'll start with Nelson.
Thanks a lot, Senator. I listened keenly when you.
And so, good evening, folks. Welcome this evening to BKS TV, and welcome to the Heat Hour program here on BKS TV. On the Heat Hour, we say dialogue and not confrontation. We say words and not bullets. In tonight's edition of the show, we will be hosting former representative of Nema County, Honorable Larry B. Yonkwa will be our guest here tonight on the show, and we'll be diving into the Asila Mental Liberia MDA extension currently before the House of Legislator or Legislature in Liberia. A lot of things to be discussed in our MDA, a lot to be discussed. That's why we want to focus on it for this week. Probably next week, we want to focus on them to know what are the clauses found within the MDA. And we are bringing more of veterans from the House of Legislator to tell us, because this MDA has been before the House before and it was rejected, I think, on 2 or 3 occasions. During those occasions, Honorable Larry P. Yonkwe was in the House. He played a very strategic role under the George Weah-led administration. I think it was under their advocacy or through their advocacy that MD at that time was not extended. But this come around, they are bringing the same thing again for extension. So we're going to be asking him tonight, what are those clauses that you guys saw before, that led you guys not to extend the MDA? And from what you have seen or what you are seeing currently in the current extension, the communication sent from the executive to the legislature, what are some of those differences that you've seen? What could be a recommendation to the executive or the House of Legislature? What could be a possible solution to some of these problems that the people are facing in Nimba, in Liberia? Because ArcelorMittal is mining in Liberia, but there are other counties that are also affected through the road that passes through those counties. They are also affected greatly, like Bon County, Grand Bassa County. So those counties, we consider them to be the mine affected areas or the affected counties. But Nimba tends to be the most affected county, by ArcelorMittal mining. So therefore, when we are discussing the issue of ArcelorMittal Liberia on this show or on this platform, we always make more emphasis to Nimba County because Nimba tends to be the most vulnerable counties or the most affected county among the 3 counties in Liberia that are affected by ArcelorMittal Liberia mining. So a lot of things to be unboxed here tonight, a lot of things to be discussed here tonight on the show. Let's recognize those of you watching us on Facebook and those of you listening to us via radio too. Want to say welcome. It's a pleasure having all of you on the show here this evening. Shadrach Wongen is watching us this evening from Mount Tokate. Shadrach, good evening and welcome to the show this evening. How is Tokate mine this evening? David Bowley is also watching us. I don't know whether David have left District 5. I don't know whether he's currently in Monrovia. But I think for security reason, I might keep the Comrie location unknown for now. But David, welcome to the show. It's great having you on here. My brother, welcome. It's 12 minutes past 9 o'clock in Liberia, 12 minutes past 11 o'clock in East Africa. Let's try to bring you some updates around Liberia and outside of Liberia too as well. Our guest is already here, so I think no need to go for those updates again. No need to go for most of them. We just bring on our guest. Larry P. Yonkwe. He's a well seasoned. Each time I'm having conversation with him, I really like having conversation with him because he's well knowledgeable to the issue. He discussed the issue without fear nor favor. He speaks for the people. He doesn't speak for himself. He speaks in the interest of the people. He value service to humanity and service to himself. That's why always when we call him, he takes it very seriously and he appears on the show every time we extend invitation to him. This is the kind of leader that we need in our society. Even despite of him leaving the position of representative, he's always there for everyone. Every time you call him, he will pick up. You text him, he will respond. You send him invitation, he will make it his due diligence to appear at least, so that the people will know that Honorable Larry is still in existence. Honorable Larry is still there for them. He still speaks for them like before. So Honorable Larry will join us here tonight, and it will be a simple conversation, a really, really simple one. DK Way is here already. DK, good evening and welcome. It's great having you on the show. Marilyn Doa is following us this evening. He said, "My Peking, I hear he do." Oh, Marilyn, welcome to the show. Melvin Wackman is watching us from Ganta City, Nima County. Now, a lot of things to unbox here tonight. A lot to unbox. DK, let's hear you shortly before we bring the honorable man on. Good evening and welcome to the show, Chief.
Brother, what you want from me?
A
What you
lot,
want to talk about?
a lot. Everything that on your mind is here.
But Omen Larry have almost everything. So he's a veteran. So bring all that here from him. Anything you want to hear, you hear from Honorable Yokwe. So thank you.
Thank you. Now, Larry P. Nyonkwe. Good evening and welcome to the show this evening. How you doing, Chief?
Well, good evening. Good evening to my dear DK and Mr. Peen and all other members of the panel, including Arvin and the rest of our listeners in the diaspora and in Liberia. I'm happy to be on the show this evening.
We have a lot to unbox here tonight. Again, we want to say welcome to the show. Our main focus here will be ArcelorMittal Liberia. We'll go to the government. A lot of reports have come from NEMO, from other organizations. They have rated this government a lot. I know you have a lot to say about them. Well, let's start with this censor thing. I want to carry you back to the censor report because you were there when this thing started. You also chaired a committee. And now the House is...
John, 1 second. Ask the old man say about CNC first. Yeah, the old man are people in CNC.
Remember, I'm overwhelmed with the questions, so I just want to just hit him with everything here. Then about Larry, let's hear you, man. How is CMC? How you guys doing?
Well, CMC is alive and kicking. The party came into being to do politics differently. Unlike the everyday politician that normally tell the people, let's do pay, give me your vote, then I would intend to do something for you. CNC believes that they should do for the people in its own weak way and tell the people later on to give them to give them the mandate so they can utilize the resources of their country to improve upon what it has already done. And so because of that, the party has earmarked a number of interventions in all 15 countries. So if it had not been for the political storming blocks that we been experiencing, the party would have even gone far in carrying on its intervention. But in most of the cases, if not all, the party has prevailed. Like you saw in one country when the party was supposed to do a little over 500,000 breach in the heart of Banga, and there was a lot of political maneuvering. Only to see that later on it was given the go-ahead to go ahead. And right now into my own district, a radio station that has been sitting moribund for a number of years was promised to be resuscitated. The resources that was asked for were made available by the political leader, and I took it there. As soon as the reactivation started, there were a lot of political maneuvering. Again, now they are begging. You see them wanting. Others are begging the party and the development association of that chiefdom not to go to court and the rest of it. And so many of these things we are experiencing here now. I think the political leader is contemplating on visiting the southeast during the latter part of this month, so that new grounds can be broken for more interventions to be made. You know, Bon and Nimba already have started getting some major promises, like the St. John River. There's a bridge that will be constructed between Kwaipa in Bon County and part of District 9 in Yahoo Mensino. That's going to be named after the venerable councillor, Tiawan Gongolo, because of the long-standing relationship he had with the political leader. And so many things, notwithstanding human resource development, the Senate bearer already promised to build a very large dormitory at the Nimba University that could take a little over 600 persons, meaning that bulk of the students that come from far away from San Nicolas will be housed. So living quarters or living arrangement will not be the problem. It's a matter of time. Groundbreaking is supposed to be taking place because the promise has been made. And huge amount of money are given to students to ensure that they are in school, based on what I know, because there's a need to delineate the role of the political leader, his role as a political leader and his role as a District 7 representative. So before you could even decide to vie for the highest seat in the country, he's already had his own plan as a representative of a district. So there are a lot of financial aid that he has in the offing. And so, but the party itself is moving. If you saw yesterday on the social media or 2 days ago, the women of district number 17 made a follow-up by inviting him into their environment. I can remember some 2 months ago, after they sat down and tried to see whether people could go for them, and they didn't see anybody visiting, they chartered their own buses and stormed the office of the party in Congo Town and said, look, you didn't send for us. We just decided to bring ourselves to process our ID card to show to you that you love you. Your way of politics is different. You are doing for people before you could ask them for what they can give you, and we want to join. And so I was in Nimba yesterday. While I was there, I heard he visited that place, and it was a sight to see. And so most of these projects that nobody ever contemplated could be undertaken. He has already chosen 3 major bridges, close as District 17 is. Those of you who know Monrovia, right after St. Paul Bridge, you have the Atherton, the Clay Ashland, and the Harrisburg, all located in that area before you could even talk about Brewerville and Virginia. And so imagine, just a stone throw away from the capital city, you still have some bridges that have been sitting wanting for nearly two centuries. And so TMC is about to enter there. The political leader already said, besides constructing those 3 bridges, he's going to empower the women with some resources to carry on loans, and then, of course, build women's center for capacity building. And so we just here to work with him, to continue to let people know what he's doing. And a good thing about him, he knows how to articulate his own thoughts, his own version of how he wants Liberian politics to look. So it makes our work easy. Those of us who are working with him, who have our own constituents, who are known to be communicators, we don't need any more scratching of heads, because the political leader is also a very good communicator. Being a man who owns communication empire, you know that you have Truth FM in Saclay, Truth FM in Ban. Of course, the mother organization is in Monrovia, and we will not disclose to you the next venue of Truth FM in Nimba.
I know you guys bring belly.
Well, I'm not putting it in your mouth. I'm not the one that I say I'm not going to disclose it. It could be Flumpa, it could be Yahoo Mensino, but I'm telling you that He is a very magnanimous gentleman, and I'm very happy that he's among us from Nimba, and he's a gift that Liberia is supposed to accept, because I've never seen an individual like that who takes his personal resources, family resources, and put at the disposal of the people that he wishes to lead. Others will want, and the way I look at it, if he were to succeed, as we are working hard to ensure that he does, I'm sure he's going to be somebody who will just sign on his check, his whatever his salary is, and say, "Look, let's just go to the usual place that I've been sending my resources." So when God blesses you, try to bless others, and that's what motivated some of us to have accepted his request to join him, since we were not active politically after having left office. When we were prevailed upon, we weigh the cost of sitting idle or joining him, so that we can make the difference that Liberia needs. And so we are the change. We are the change that we have all been waiting for in Obama's tone. And so basically that's what we can say about CMC. CMC is a very dynamic party. Every day, every hour, every second, there are new things happening. And so we cannot articulate all, but I think we are very happy to be associated with him.
Thank you. I mean, that was a really, really lengthy thought about the CMC there. But for you personally, on Larry P. Yonkwe, what have been your personal engagement with the district that you led before of late?
Well, we've been very active. I think if you are on the social media, we had wanted to remain quiet, working with our people in what we know best, until sometimes the incumbent feeling jittery about our own resumption of political activities decided to take us out. And so many times he will be calling me names, and I promise everybody in Liberia that when you call me names, I will get in a very public glare to debunk or set the record straight. But we are with our people. We have organized our people. You know, when you are out of politics, I mean, a lot of things have been streamlined, so you are not having the flexibility to go far and wide like you used to do. So you got to work in your Jerusalem. So we are working in the environment in which we find ourselves, organizing our people to carry on some personal initiative, some of which we are doing successfully. Prior to Honorability visiting me, where he highlighted the Gipo Township, at night drones are flying there to just capture how Gipo looks at night, or where it's looking like how Yikepa used to look, just because I made friend with Ability and he visited us. But prior to his coming, we've been having rally to do some intervention on the road leading from Flumpa to Gipo. And then Ability has agreed in principle to connect District 8 with District 2 in the Gar region to hit the quota right after Dingama. So the waiver of property has been done by the Ability Development Association, Foundation, and met with the citizens of the township. That was done. And then we went to Gar, Walimon, the citizens did likewise. And so these are some of the things we have been doing to spearhead development. We are rallied that we raised from Monrovia alone. We raised over 107,000 LD and took it, added to what the community has in Gipo. And so next month, February, hopefully we'll start some rehabilitation of the covers, the bridges from Flumpa to Gipo. I think you've been hearing that I sold a scrap that I went with the Nimba Caucus those days. We deliver in the 9 district except District 1. At the time, the representative Kuhn said he didn't need it. So we took it to all the 8 districts at designated point. And the job I went to do with a certain bridge, we did it. And then the iron were lying there. So in my departure note, I delivered that to the people of Gipo to connect District 8 with District 7. And so when they were ready for this bridge, they told me, look, please go to the Parliament chief. We want to take the iron that your office delivered to us some time ago. It is the citizen that have been looking for this iron, but the gentleman went and said, I took iron. But again, being able to clarify it. So in other words, we have been very active. If we're not active, people will not be crying over our name. But that was not a distraction. We always have our political work to do. Where necessary, we go and do CMC work. We are mobilized officially. Even in Monrovia, we have ourselves on our own that are mobilizing people. So basically, that's how it is. Our people know that we are still politically active. We were not tired before we were retired, for lack of better words. So we still got some strength in us to move around and still do some intervention.
Thank you. Now to the issue. Let me welcome the other panelists on the show. Big Brother Peterson Walker, welcome. CDC Amma Brooks, welcome to the show. Big Brother Sewete Zoga Tour, welcome. My Leonard colleague Saros D. Nakwa, welcome to the show too as well. Now, this asylum mental thing is now in the public leg, and all of us discussing it. In the 54th legislature, I think that extension came before you people, and you, Honorable Larry P. Yonkwe, and other lawmakers from NEMA stood your grounds on issue that asylum mental Liberia should do before that MDA can be extended. Now, they are bringing the same MDA for extension. I think you've seen the clauses within the MDA. You've seen all of the different changes within the MDA. What say you about this extension thing?
Well, my position is that Liberia can ill afford rejecting any investment opportunity such as the ArcelorMittal deal. So that's not where my attention is. Since Liberia is not in a position to do that because she has already accepted 200 million upfront signature bonus that has already been incorporated into the budget, that I think the president needs a signature now for it to become law. It goes without saying that in essence, we've already agreed that the MDA should pass, because while you know you will not accept, you cannot accept some of the money there to go into your current budget. So having said that, and at the legislature, which has the power to ratify, it is number game. What I will advise the 11 members of our legislative delegation is to focus on the low-hanging fruits, those things that if we overlook, nobody will be reminded to talk on our behalf for. And I must admit that Senator Yantuayen has been doing very well to highlight some of the key things that we need to talk about, which is just going to be added upon what we were seeing. For example, this agreement is saying that by the signing as of 2027, the output, which is standing currently at 15 million metric ton, will begin to go up, and at a certain point in time, will double to 30, and after a certain time to 20, and after a certain time, it will be doubled to 30 million metric tons. And they are saying now 5 million will be given annually to community development. That is an increment of 2 million, because it used to be 3 million share among the 3 counties. So I hope our people are going to now look there to ensure that that 5 million is going to be proportionally distributed. So instead of us receiving 1.5 million, NIMBA should be having half of it, which is about 2.5 million. And then the rest go down to BASA and Bond the same way. And then they talk about intervention in social development, corporate responsibility. Unfortunately, NIMBA, which is the custodian of the resources at BAR, does not have any particularity. According to the letter, I will be very generic because I haven't read the document itself, but I'm quoting the letter that was written to the legislature from the presidency. where you outline how bridges will be built between Buchanan and the concession area in Yigipa, how roads will be tarred or asphalted, how a lot of things will be done in Buchanan without mentioning anything about even the Sekimpa Yigipa road, whether it is part of it, without even mentioning pavement with quota from CNC Junction right after Ganta to Buchanan. These are major infrastructure. Government hands are full. When will government ever think about putting asphalt on that major road within the heartland of Liberia? And we're not seeing it, but bridges that are mentioned between Bone and Bassa Country are mentioned. Those are particularities. Then within Buchanan is so many things are mentioned in the MDA, and Nimba Country is still sitting to see which of the particular projects that will be undertaken besides the so-called 5 million, which is increasing the earnings of Nimba if all things are equal, or increasing it by 1 million. Because we are 1.5, so if you have 5 now, we get 2.5. That's okay. But if we don't do due diligence, we don't take care again, we will go 20 years as we have gone with the 1.5 million and nothing substantial we are showing because of the way it has been used. So these are my concerns. The second thing is that we were having concession agreement between Liberia and ArcelorMittal, Australia, but now we have new factors: ArcelorMittal USA, ArcelorMittal this, that. Are these, as the senator was trying to mention, are these not a way of shunning some of the responsibility, especially when it comes to liabilities? What safeguards are there to ensure that they are taking away along all the liabilities as well as the assets? I hope the new guy will not say, well, this you had it with ArcelorMittal, this you call them Mittal Steel, then came to ArcelorMittal Liberia and Australia, with ArcelorMittal Liberia being the operating arm. Now you are USA introduced. They say because of the, for lack of better word, the Cold War, or the need to get closer to America. So you just gotta use American names so that some of the criticalities that people who are trying to put forward, they will be afraid of the need America and accept things uncritically. These are some of the issues. So as the senator is raising it, I hope he's going to lobby, especially with the trying to bring all the Nimbayans on board, and then you start hitting at other people who are in the same business. Because Honorable Senator Twain is combining both the low-hanging fruit and the high-hanging fruit. The issue of changing of company name so that you can have some of the benefits under those kind of technicalities. These are the high-hanging fruit that even the Minister of Finance, the Minister of Commerce, the National Investment Commission, the chairperson of those sectors at the level of the legislature and things you will be thinking about, because they have implications. But when it comes to the low-hanging fruit, why is it nothing is mentioned about some particular projects that will be undertaken in Nimba and Bronx County and Love and Bassa are the ones that are mentioned, included in the MDA. It said that the president wanted to truncate the list of things that need to be done, but again, in truncating it, is Nimba not good enough for at least one or two of the key projects to be mentioned so that we can be part of it? There was a relocation of the GW Harley Hospital of Sanekole to Sekimpa, going to Zogowe. Some construction has started. We are referring to it as substandard. Why it was not mentioned that it will continue? The road has passed Sanekole. The one that going to Lugwato is going, but from Sekimpa to Yigipa, it stayed there. Dry season time is all dust. Rain season time is all mud, and nothing specific is mentioned about it. Where are we? Yigipa bringing it back to the pre-war time. We thought this kind of thing was going to be mentioned. So you're talking about improving conditions at the loop in Buchanan, building bridges there, paving it with quota and the rest of it. And these are some of the concerns we have. But again, like I said, prior to my departure, when the bridge between Bone County and Nimba broke down between District 8 in Nimba and District 1, when that rail cut, and I think they stopped exporting or transporting iron ore for a couple of months while they were constructing that. the railroad that they bridge the Bay on St. John is not the best. It's not one of the best. They just stockpiled huge rocks, and the whole of last year harvest and year before last harvest was destroyed in those areas because the flood gave hard time to the people of District 8, specifically the Yopi end, the Gallimore end, and of course the San Blowy end. The water could not pass. And when I told them, they said, look, this is a temporary arrangement, apparently for fear of, at the time, this whole argument of the Ivanhoe coming in to be one of the users of the railroad, they were still contemplating that they could stop that from happening and they would be having exclusivity over the rail and the rest of it. Now that Liberia has gone into agreement with Ivanhoe and Liberia is about to establish National Rail Authority, I think we should hold ArcelorMittal responsible to build the bridge over St. John River between Bon and Nimba to stand up to increase the passageway so that the flow that is currently hampering our people of District 8 in that particular corridor and of course in District 1 in Bon County can be assuaged. So these are things people overlook, and we hope these things must be injected, because one of the things we suffered for during our stewardship was that we were told it was not in the MDA, and this is the time to place everything in the MDA. So constructing that bridge to stand up, it is not anything new. You damage it, and you were building it, and you just went and stockpile part of rock, and you reduce the passageway. If you know how people can get high blood pressure, just one classic definition of it. They place the water supposed to pass, they just jam it with part of rock because they didn't want to know. And so when it's time for flood, it overrides the entire community. The food, the crops are damaged, and the rest of it. And the environmental issues, people should be raising it now. If I were to say that these are the issues I will be raising now that I'm part of the political class, albeit in a different manner, there's a time now for us to call our lawmakers to it. And so good, the Senator Torian Jr. comes from that portion of the country, as he is advocating for the good things to come to our people. I hope Senator Koga and all our lawmakers could join to draw their attention to that. But again, that's where my concern is. And we cannot go to it. Even the issue about the job. Now they have put a lot of lofty things there. But after the 10 years, employment of senior staff will reach to a certain level, 75%, blah, blah, blah. Again, in that MDA, they are saying that there will be fine imposed up to 500,000 if you didn't do it. The past one was 0. So they overlooked all the things that should have been done. Managerial level at certain time, Liberians should be there at certain time, certain technical things should be done this way. I'm not going to be so particular because I have not read all. But what I saw there was that there are fines up to 500,000 if you didn't do so. Compliance issue. We are one of the most experienced former lawmaker in Hansen Kazulu, who is now heading the Bureau of Concession. At the time, I was dealing with Miss Bishop. I invited her to Ganta, and she must have rode a road from CNC Junction to the St. John Bridge. She looked at all the roads. The bridges had all been buried. In fact, the covers were not even laid professionally. And she said, well, these are not in the MDA. So the time now that we have to correct those things is now. Let them place the construction of that road to stand up and putting quota on it. You trying to go to 2050. 2050, those of us who are in our mid-60s, hopefully God will bless us to be alive by that time. It will just be a matter of time. But we're talking about serious time you are giving to the people, and you can't mortgage. And one of the things I see about the NDA is that all the useful mounds, all the useful iron ore reserve in Upper Nimba are incorporated, at least based on what I knew, because this whole Sorway, the Sorway something in Zorkland, where Sorway were operating in the Mombele and Mondeton, in the Zortapa area, in the Gaypa area, and the rest of it. Those things were supposed to be separate mines. A new concession will come. Then, of course, it will be exactly where Nimba County looking. If Nimba were to be spread, a threshold were able to set and people go by it. Nimba is supposed to have more seats than it has. But because it is a single country, You can just look at, culturally, send these people are located. You leave it to get. That's why you had this before, almost from Secretary Highway to Bopley today. That's why you had this 8 from the Monrovia Highway to Guinea border on the left. Then you get a big chunk in the middle called Mempiema. Then you get another one called Liwebe. Then you get another one in Bay. Because we're together. But if we were to be separate country, the way Southeast is looking, you got about 4 or 5 countries there. They will be forced to give you the number of seats you want because these are the kind of same things that are happening to us. Why you can't give the concession agreement to another group? Beliton and Deton supposed to be given to another one. Afghanistan is saying that it's in your area. Then Kitamon, that huge mountain range from Baden Waterfall to Senegal there, they are saying that all of them supposed to be incorporated in that. You know what you're talking about? From one concession to control over 6 and 7. Already you get Lireton, Gangra, and Togade. You get what I'm saying? So these are some of the areas. Initially, they were not part of it, but because the railroad is no longer with them, because Buchanan is no longer with them, the port is not with them, and it's okay, we'll grab all the map that Liberia ever brought, and then the government of Liberia is allowing this kind of thing to happen. So we don't have new president for us to negotiate with for effective community resources, for community development, for corporate responsibility, and some of the very things that's supposed to be, because they will say, oh, if people giving you 5 million per year, and so those things, even if they are 2 million, if the Kitamo have new concession agreement that they're giving 2 million to the 3 countries because of the senior arrangement, and Nimba take half of it, you add it to what Yikipa is bringing. Then Deton and Beliton in Zor, they give us even 2 million. We take our own 1 million, the other one will go to the people. You know what I mean? We are gone up, and there are a lot of things, the local content, this, that. But again, I don't know what our people are thinking on. But these are just some of the things I want to talk about. So to me, I'm not in the business of saying they should not come. Because if you don't want it, you can see sometimes ago, a committee, I don't know how they did it. Nimba was not even on the committee, the Natural Resource Committee. They went to have a secret meeting in Jikepa. And Otoya had to intercept them and to blow the alarm. So whether you like it or not, you only need to look for example, 16 lawmakers at the level of the Senate. Simple majority. You need to look for 37 lawmakers at the level of the lower house. Period. They will ratify a concession agreement. And then you own this thing because you are adamant, you are unreasonable. People will give you all the characterization simply because they don't want you for something good to come to your people. Look at the 200 million. According to the Liberian decentralization law and revenue sharing law, which we championed when we were there, and which even a Nimbayan, Dr. Wedolier, had been the one studying, serving as a resource person at the level of the Internal Affairs Ministry, a former governor, government commission, commissioner. The revenue sharing law is on the book. So are you saying the 200 million that is coming as signature bonus, which is coming as a result of the existence of natural resources in one country, does not constitute a revenue that the 20% they're talking about there is not supposed to come to Nimba? Look at the allocation they made. Nimba is raising the money and Bonkante is enjoying. Look at the amount of money that is going to CB Dombo Hospital in Senegal, in Banga. And look at what's going to Phoebe. But look at Ganda Meredith's money. Look at even E&J Hospital, which is the largest government hospital in Ganta. They're not compared to what are in these countries. Then look at the country health team money. Compare with what other country health teams are receiving. These are things that the people want to see. They don't want some of us who can see with our third eye to be among the political class, because we see it and raise the issue. You get what I'm saying? How can a country that raises so much money? So honorability was talking about it. I think Toyin Koga didn't talk about it. I'm sure, I hope they will put their feet down. That one, we're not talking about futuristic. That 200 million that went there, let them give our money in line with the revenue sharing law. Period. Ain't got to do with social development, ain't got to do with affected community. The law says when you raise certain money in your community, certain portion is surrendered into that. It's a government money, but they say a country council, no longer country sitting where Coco had to play a role, but the country council is there. It's reflective of the demography of the country. You got the elders, the youth, the civil society, the superintendent office, and the rest. Now we're talking about amending, and I believe they need to amend it at least to get some key role of the legislature, because you can't just see people representing you in Monrovia, but you see a lot of development happening in your country, but if people don't have access, there's only we who came from the project background, there's only got evaluation by objective. For you to better supervise anybody, you must know the objective the person is using your money for. But if people go and have their county council and then the lawmakers are not informed, how do they supervise, how do they put their oversight into place? So to me, at least there will be a link, the link which is there for them to be informed as to what being agreed upon in their area and what justify it, whether they will hold some consultation with their people, let them identify what they want to do, then it can be incorporated into a draft, like what normally comes to the legislature. Then when that draft comes from foreign ministry, those district-wide projects discussion will constitute a draft budget now, the superintendent we have in now, and then the legislature of the country, which is the county council, will now be discussing these drafts from these various districts. But where nothing like that is happening, you just go sit down there, you just see even projects that's supposed to be undertaken by central government, like the superintendent compound, district commissioner office, bidding welcome sign. Those things are national projects that will come from the Minister of State or Minister of Internal Affairs, whatever. But we're using our social development fund as well, be opening our road. Koga has been talking it too, but you know, those who are not active politically, when you talk to me, they say we are Confucianists. But nobody can tell me I'm a Confucianist because I'm a political person too. Political opposition is a government in waiting, and we've been there before. And I've been one of the highest planner of this government. I rose to the rank of senior economist at the Ministry of Planning and Economic Affairs. So nobody can tell me when I'm giving my personal and technical view on national issue, I'm a Confucianist. No, we just want the country to be correct. So let me stop here. If you have some specific pointed questions, then we can address.
We have a lot. I will ask you one, then we go to Peterson, DK, and the rest of the folks to ask you their question. You raised some important points here tonight on our Yonkwe. The one that have to do with the inclusion of those mountains in Nima, Mont Blé, Mont Ylideton, and the rest of the mountains. These are very important points. I don't know because the 2007 MDA, those mountains were not included. But at a certain point in time, ArcelorMittal was claiming those mountains, which I know of. We heard a talk show about it on several occasions on Radio Nima. People called, they expressed dissatisfaction. Now, a lot of people at that time, they said they needed competition into the mining sector in Nima. Like you have Billiton at that time when they were doing exploration. You have Billiton, you have other companies. At that time, there were a lot of jobs in Nima for people. But if ArcelorMittal Liberia is taking everything for herself and leaving room for no other company to come in Liberia, that means we are heading to the wrong path. But my question to you is, in 2005, we never had anyone at the executive, which is we didn't have anyone like vice president or president when that deal was being signed between the government of Liberia and ArcelorMittal. In 2013, when they were doing the rectification, you never had anyone in the executive to represent Nima County. But this time around, we have a son of Nima, Vice President Jeremiah Kpankun. He sits at the executive table. But from what I have seen, there is no changes within this MDA, and it's been sent to the legislature. What is going on, Oryonkwe? What do we need to know?
Well, people have different way of approaching national issue. The vice president is an assistant to the president. He only functions where the president wants him to make himself visible. Otherwise, his role is a by-room role. So you don't outshine your leader. So if he has any role to play, it's going to be covert. It's not going to be open, because he is there to help the president, and it's not his responsibility to tell us that, look, I told the president this and he didn't do it, or he did it. So having said that, knowing the dichotomy between the role of the vice president and that of the presidency, I will refrain from holding him responsible. I'm sure he might have been doing something, but it has to be done through either our direct representative and senators, or at the higher level when he and the president meets and things. But sometimes it's good for these talk shows for those kind of open discussion. Maybe it will help as a way of reminding them. But I believe that a lot of things must be done. No, in the first place, when I asked the other day, I was disappointed that they said even Kitomo is a very large oil reserve from Boabalasno all the way to Boagewi, Boakitomo, all the way to Gardengamo, that huge mountain range. For me to say that it's also part of a concession agreement, I hope it is not so. Because what I knew before was Togade, Ilireton, and Gangra, just on the left side. When you go into Yigepa, those were the three. That's why government of Liberia went and gave exploration right to Sorway to do the Deton and Mombele in Zor in District 3. But unfortunately, we got to know that Aslam Mita said no, and the map to their concession agreement was available at the time. My own political advisor to the Senate bearer of my partner, Mr. Gobaslekbo, was still advocating against the concession. He had the map, and he was furnishing us with it when we were deliberating as lawmakers. The map did not include Sorway operation area. Let's mention about passing through Senegole to come all the way down to Kitama. But because at the time Asdomita was sitting pretty, thinking that he can dominate the railroad sector and the port sector, but now that everything is going away and it will just be one of the users, and other users can also be given the opportunity to operate. So they say, okay, we have to go by for what is available. And then government sat there and allowed it to claim Sorway. I think they paid money to Sorway for the money they used to do whatever exploration and other things. To me, it needed not be so, because government will be doing it to avoid being sued. But NIMBA loses, or Liberia loses, especially at the low-hanging fruit level, because the social development fund, the local content, and even the corporate responsibility and things are things that are going to help. Even the changing of license fee to 50,000 to, I think, 500,000, which I indicated in the letter now. If Billiton that are operating around Kitomo were to come and say, look, I'm also coming from my license, it will be the 500,000. They have $1 million. Then the Deton and Billet and Mombele in Zotu, new company come and take it, you pay the 500,000 something. Like if you know District 8 right there after Gman, the mountain range on the left, there's a very black iron ore in that, and also on the right side to Kwapa, there's a mountain up there. The exploration that Jonah Capital was carrying on iron ore is also right there. And so a new group will come and sit down there, they pay the 500,000 license fee. You know what it means? But as the guy put everything together and pay 500,000 license fee, so NIMBA tends to lose. And, you know, so these are some of the things that I hope it's not yet late. And so this is it. So basically, I think I hope there is not a lost opportunity, because you talk about 2050. You're not talking about 2035. And so they say that couple of years up to 2030, but now the law is that once Liberia approve of this, if the way they just went into their third sitting, and if they rectify it this first quarter, then it means they will forfeit the remaining year, and then the 50 year will start. 30 years will start from. Let's say that 25 years will start from whenever the document is approved. That's why every stipulation they say from 2017, the calculation will start from there. And so the law is good. The good law is that when you fail, there's going to be punishment. The first one was not there, unless you go to court and the rest of it. But this time, the fine ranging from somewhere to 500,000 for non-compliance. So the law is as good as your ability to enforce it. And so with the level of sharp minds that we have on the legislature, as reflected in Honorable Tua, because he is the most vociferous lawmaker for now. The others may be doing theirs, but they are a little bit going at it in a very cool manner and nobody hearing them much. But Nya is really fighting very hard. So I hope they can all team up to ensure that some of these things are done. Let them extricate. The president sat down there, he was advised. Let them, they can't change anything. They can simply say, look, Mr. President will be able to pass on this thing if you can take 2 or 3 of these mans out. One company can take all our mans. The people are still fight something. They are not iron people. And one of the things I want to mention is, and Jan has been talking about it, is that they sell to themselves so that they can do steel. Now, if the company is a big multi-million, if not multi-trillion company, if they are selling to themselves, they will honor declare. And when they honor declare, since the people came, we are in their 21st year. I learned that Liberia has not gotten anything over 30% because you have to declare profit before you talk about declaring dividend. If you always break even or honor or operate in deficit, definitely Liberia will not get. So like just royalty Liberia is living on. Are you kidding me? This is our own billions of dollars. This is our own millions of dollars. It could constitute Liberia on share into the business. And Liberia should be on the table. Who are you selling to? How much are you paying? Then every year it's telling us from London or New York that there is no profit, therefore there is no dividend. But because we located in your geography, take this amount as your royalty. So these are some of the questions we need to answer. When you sell to yourself and you buy the thing $5, it's low. I'm buying it $7 because you're selling it to yourself. So at the end of the day, your expenses that you use to get the iron ore out of the ground will be more than what you will sell for. And therefore, there is no profit. Therefore, there is no 30% given to you. These are some of the issues that we need to clear it so that Liberia can get in the first place this time and age. We should not be talking about come invest all your money and give for what you can give for. We should be saying this is our own part. You to bring your own, but there is a revenue sharing. This is how we do it. Again, there's another lost opportunity. So that's the little crime I have that I just wanted to bring it for the listening public and all of us to elaborate. We may not talk all tonight, but it can be some of the talking point as we ponder over what is happening in the next few weeks.
Thank you so much. Mr. Peterson Walker, let's give you the opportunity to ask your 2 questions. After you will go to Aman to Sarah to Siawite. You are muted.
Thank you so much. Happy to be here with my woman. Moro Yonko, how you doing?
Yes, sir. My PMC chair.
Yes, sir. Yes, it's my pleasure to be here with you. It's been a while. We have not spoken. You know, I was saying the last time, Nima had people in the house that were really forceful. And right now, our friends that have come on board need to double up and be able to catch up. While we agree that they are I can say the younger brains, they need to be forceful. Like you people, very radical, but knew your way out. So they should try to imitate, the kind of, vigor, so that Nima can be on the map as well. So thank you. I just have few concerns before I ask my question directly to this thing. 2017, I can remember you were our Unity Party candidate for that district, the same as Honorable Nneka Gay and the late Dara Gweglo. So the late Dara Gweglo and Honorable Roger Doma. And we rallied around you guys and we did well. So I want to shortly, before I go to this, I wonder if you care to let us know, why are we here? Why are we pushing CMC? Was there any reason for which you completely divorced Unity Party, or is it your own political, maneuvering? Was there any reason for that? And that we could know, those of us that have been the architect behind Unity Party?
Well, without appearing, I don't know what the description would be. The CMC is not my first party after I left Unity Party. You are skipping CPP or ANC for that matter.
Yeah, that's why I said, why are we here? So that I'm just putting all together and just ending up with CMC. I don't just want to, list them
Well,
all.
in every life situation, there is a pull factor and a push factor.
Yeah.
So initially, there was a push factor that had nothing to do with Nimba local politics, because I was in Unity Party when the current vice president and our former senator were not part of it. They were in CDC. They were collaborating heavily with CDC. So it couldn't be for their business for which I left Unity Party. I left Unity Party because the push factor was at the time, after we all worked together with our current president, the then Steno Barrow. He didn't succeed. I succeeded. We discovered that we waited for more than 24 months and nothing was being done. Other political parties were active. Some of us were almost approaching our twilight in politics. So we felt that we needed to be active. So when the CSW was conducted in New York, the Convention on the Status of Women, our chairman on governance, I was also, as a population scientist, we advocated for women because we know the benefit the country can get when you have the improvement in the statuses of women and children. So because of that, whenever there was a meeting of that nature, like CSW, Convention on the Right of Women, the UN women will facilitate my travel with the women. So we went to New York for 11 days. But when I was coming, I told myself that I was going to transition from Unity Party because the party was too slow in reorganizing for us to even assess where we went wrong and things like that. So I've set everything into motion because other people were approaching us to go and be active with them. And I saw at the time ANC was very active here as honorabilities or CMC is currently. Putting here and there, Bonkante, Lofa, Granji there, moving here and there every day. They are in the news. So I wanted to be part of such. So I did it respectfully. I made an appointment with the president, the then Senator Barrow, and I said, oh man, I want us to talk because normally we used to meet one-on-one. And so I went to him and said, Papi, I'm leaving because the party is still waiting for so many things to be in place. So he said, hey, my son, you're leaving here? He said, well, but we just planning retreat. Retreat after 24 months to Buchanan when others have started. So my push factor was that the party was a little bit docile, was slow in picking up, and I wanted to go somewhere to be active. And so that's where we went and spent our years that we were in the house with the ANC and later on CPP. And so that what got me to be where I am. And then the election cycle was over, and we saw again that there was a need to transition. Now you would tell me that I'm the most wildly traveled political person. Well, it is so because Liberian situation is not stable, so we will not be stable until things are stable. We're still looking for solutions. So where we are is where we think again we can make some impact. Basically, that's why it is. It was not because of any animosity. It's not lately now when the former senator and the current vice president went there now and said, okay, politically, you know never politics more than most of the people on the panel with you. And so we could not work together. So I decided to remain myself until we are sent for me to help me in the run-up. And we went and did what we could. And the result became why it is, and we don't hold anything against anybody. It didn't give me a job. I don't blame them because I didn't run with them. Even though there are some people who also ran campaign against them very much. And then, for example, Louis Brown was our campaign manager in CPP, but he is representing Liberia at the highest echelon ever that anybody would want to represent your country on. So that defeats the cause why I didn't support Georgia and the Johnson and the Vice President Kun in the second round because who was more important in the opposition, CPP, and then the campaign manager? But he had been given the diplomatic role at the United Nations. And so it defeats everything. Those of our brothers who were working as commissioners, as ministers, like the donors, the Gelus, the this and that, who, because they didn't run campaign for Unity Party Alliance, they were left out. I'm sorry I'm mentioning Duna and Taiwan Tizer, but I just in passing, I think they are gone back to their Unity Party. For those of us who are still not part of the Unity Party, there's no reason why anybody cannot give us a job because we didn't support them. Because even people who were leading the campaign have been considered. But again, I don't need a job from government now because I have my political party to run. So there's a breaking news. I don't need government job. Even if they offer me one, I will tell them one condition: accept me to be in your government as an opposition. But if you want me to abandon where I am, no. I don't have any second chance now. As an older man, I don't have any time to cover up. I don't need government job now. I will continue to do the role I'm playing until the election comes. The result, whatever it will be, I will already be in my retirement age. So basically, that's why it is. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you so much. At least I'm free to know that Unity Party is not responsible for your living.
No.
So that is okay. Now let's talk NIMA. I just need your own honest analysis of this issue. You have the current MDA. Before the NDA was, I think, drafted or submitted. You have Senator Yan Toye coming up very, very, analytical, being very analytical with issues that many of us have seen, but the voice was not there. But he was very, very analytical to trumpet that analysis, especially when it comes to the ingredients of the past NDA and what were to be done and that were not done, and we consider to be outstanding. So he brought it up. Senator Koga as well came up with it. My little disappointment has been the lower house. I have not heard them of recent. If they have been doing it, well, I'm not in Liberia, but we have not seen them very forceful to be very supportive to these two senators. But these two senators have been working hard. And then, surprisingly, the draft had come up totally divorcing NIMA from our entire process, letting NIMAians to know no matter how your senators, push the issue, we don't care. Even though NIMA is a cardinal part of this government, NIMA helped to bring this government to this level. Now, the board of directors, the Ministry of Finance and Development Planning, they know these things very well. The concession draft had come up and absolutely NIMA is out. What should this entail? Does it mean that they are smartly undermining the authority of the leadership of NIMA, influence in NIMA, so that they can be like voiceless because they have pushed their analysis and government have refused to dive into that, refused to listen? Does it mean they are undermining the authority in NIMA, or does it mean they try to put from the mind that absolutely they need the money and NIMA does not need those things? What is it like? How does it play in your political analysis?
Oh well, this is an eye opener. I was a little bit diplomatic when I was addressing the issue of us having a vice president, and such a document is coming from the executive, and I don't want to put so much pressure on him. Well, I think it's a challenge to all of them. Bassa has just a pro tem that the vice president decided to preside throughout in a whole year. She cannot handle the gavel because he is a presiding officer of the Senate. Because of her influence, you see that projects are outlined in her city, in her country, starting with the St. John Bridge that links down with Bassa, the bridges that go to the Loop and other places there, Kota and all, and then not a single project is mentioned in our country, and they're not supposed to ring bell. So the same thing happened with the allocation of the seats. Bassa with just a little over 200, it is almost 1,000, is giving one seat. For anybody that got 600,000 is sharing two seats with country with 400,000 and country with 300,000. Again, our people are sitting there looking at it, so I don't know. When I talk now and say, oh, the man left the place, he still want to go by the way, criticizing people, you are right. Who is undermining us? Nobody undermining us. We're just not doing our work. If I'm vice president, I don't have to openly disagree with the president. But most of the other people are from his party, and they are his colleagues. Gentlemen, you already say you should let it come here. We know how to do it this way. I'm sure they are working on it, hopefully, because even the threshold bill are not yet passed at the level of the Senate. So I hope they will correct some of those things. So if anybody who's supposed to be, because the reason why we're saying these things is that the young people nowadays are being sensitized. If the MDA goes the way we're talking about, without any project to say this MDA will make sure the quota will come from Ganta all the way to Bikana, so that at least the portion, the nearly 18 kilometers of road within Nimba County is paved with quota, and projects are not identified in the Ga corridor, in the Sai corridor, in the Yamen corridor, in the Zor corridor, and then you leave it like that. But projects are being identified in Bon and Bassa. When the citizens know about it, they start rising up again. That's the time now maybe government will come and say, okay, let the ERU go there. And so to me, this is the way to assuage the problem of the society. Who is undermining us? Who was there? For example, the legislators will say only one number, which is the threshold. Then you leave the distribution with leges and the election commission. Then you went and sat down there and start allocating seats that their job. Not their job. And in so doing, Nimba is defeated. These are the kind of things. So this concession agreement, they must take it very serious. Because we come from a place where our people are used to benefiting from the little one that was there. If they want to come and is silent on it, nobody is undermining, or you can't be the number 2 man and you get 2 senators and you got one of the largest legislative delegation. People will count on you tomorrow with your number at the lower of 9 to vote for them so that their issues can pass. And you have an issue that you are consolidating yourself and say, look, you come to our aid. This thing. 2 as a crowd. Bassa, Bon, and Nimba. Bassa got 5 seats. Bon got 7 seats. Nimba got 9. 16 plus 5, that was 21 out of 70 something. You know what I talked about? You got number already to start with. You really want something to be done. So to me, when it comes to the honor mining thing, you can't have the gavel in your head. Then they say that they put the gavel from me and change the thing and begin authoritatively establish that Nimba got nothing to take home. Again, I stand to be corrected. Nimba may have something there, but the president was a little bit tired to include it in the letter they wrote the legislature from which I'm speaking tonight. And if that was the case, then it's an injustice, because it means it's dangerous, because anybody could just say, oh, they letter going by the letter from the president alone, there's nothing for Nimba, therefore we take this action. So I would take it that nothing there for us. That's why it was indicated in that form. Even the scholarship that used to be $300,000 for human capital development, they are pushing down to $500 million. 300,000, you're going to 500,000. Again, the distribution must be discreet. It must be discreet. When you say Liberia, to train Liberian for master degree with 300,000, then they go select people out of 10 presidents, 2 for Nimba. No, the portion that will go to Nimba and the affected community, because this iron ore, when it is dug out, it's not renewable. So the other virgin area that we are not yet seeing iron ore or any gold or other things coming, they one will be having the opportunity to have theirs. And because at the level of discussion, they got always the best cream de la cream on the table to talk for their people, they will be giving better opportunity than what we are currently having. We will have the largest deposit. The country has been surviving on us since the early 1960s. So if we play a game with this thing, it's going to hurt us. So there is not time for us to put our feet down. If there is nothing there particular about how they will develop Nimba in addition to the 5 million, even the 500,000 they want to give now for international scholarship, we need half of that a month. Let it come to us. We can find any quality, even if you say 4 points. One time we were on the board of the University of Liberia for 6 years. There was a time that both the female and the male deuces of the university were all Nimbaans. They were all 4-pointers. Yes, including a female. The gentleman was from Queen, I can remember. As a female was a damn girl. That's what we got brains. So you go say 500 million. You say, okay, the 2050, 500 million every year, 500,000 every year to train people for master degree. But then you don't say, okay, Nimba, you take half of it, the other one go to the other country. Then you leave it like that. But we the one, we live with the excavated hole, with the mosquito living in the hole and affecting our people. So I mean that's it. Nobody undermining us. Our people. Let the vice president hearing me tonight. That Flomo, who is from the district 2, who has Togade, Honorable Negage, who has district 3, who has the Gipa and all the Beliton, the Deton, the Gidereton, and then of course Miana, who has district 8, Liwepi and Mempima, and then Flomo, who also got GA. These people who are from the affected district, and of course Koga is a very forceful senator. And our brothers in from District 9 and other places, let them bubble up and tell their colleagues that, look, NIMBA need to be reflected here. Otherwise, they will soon tell the same story. It's not in the MDA. It is now time for the rule from Ganta to Buchanan to be quota. It must be in it this time around. And then there are some projects to be identified. That one thing I'm reminding them about, that one there, let them put it there. The electricity that came from Guinea and passed by way of second part, that can pass through the portion of the road that are going to begin from Tondi to CNC Junction. They are using Ganta as their access road. That transco electricity, electricity land there, let it constitute a road. Let you get back open that one, so when you come from Tondi, you come straight into CNC Junction. That place need to be open and quota the same way the one we're talking about. Those are projects that are supposed to go in a concession agreement. I'm not talking about the selling, they doing to themselves and presenting their sales for which Liberia can get a royalty. That one are the big one there. The changing of the company from ArcelorMittal Australia to ArcelorMittal USA. How does it affect the transfer of liability and asset and blah, blah, blah. Those are the national issues there. But those ones that have to do with our environment, that if the citizens are not happy, there will be industrial unrest because they are not happy. Let them start addressing it now.
Yeah, okay, Gino, let me come with my last question. The first one was just to know about Unity Party. My last question has to do with last question or concern has to do with what, from my experience, what I know is any preparation, any document preparation, like budget, like concession agreement, and stuff like this, they come from a technical room. It comes from a committee that work on this thing before it get to the politicians. Politician definitely, when anything is prepared behind the scene and get to the politician, everybody looks for what interests them the most and try by all means to protect. When I was going through the 2005 MDA, it clearly states that the government of Liberia was responsible to settle the board of ArcelorMittal, to appoint people on the board. And profit sharing and benefits, allocations, and what have you should squarely be under that board jurisdiction or work with the board to do them. So I can remember Joshua doing Josh Weah administration president, Weah administration, Senator Groupie was appointed on our board. So up to now, are the board still working? Were this concession agreement drafted from the boardroom? If NIMA is not represented on that board, do you think NIMA interest is going to be protected? Because whenever it comes from that boardroom or any document comes from that committee, it gets to the public. Senator Yomi Lawrence will not look at that thing that is carved in her interest to fight against. Senator Dillon will never fight against, and none of these people will fight against. And these things will come out from the committee room. Who are there representing NIMA and pushing NIMA interest? The last one has to do with the hospital in Sanikole, GW Halley Hospital, is right by the train track. This issue is not about benefit. It's strictly administrative, operational expense issue. If you're supposed to pass with your iron ore and your train is making noise, killing our citizens right to that hospital, and you're coming up with a new agreement that the hospital is not filtered in it, is this your operational expense that does not have to do with the NDA, or have you just forget it? Are you thinking to change your train trial location to let our people be in the old hospital? So what is it like? How do we looking at these things?
Well, let me start with the first one. As far as my recollection goes, Senator Groupie is still member of the board,
Okay.
and a former Chief Justice. former Chief Justice Francis Kokbo is still member of the board. I think they got two level of both. One is international and one is
Local.
national. I don't know how they're going around it. And the groupie was appointed under Wia's time, and I think President Bouaka appointed former Chief Justice Kokbo on that board. So I think we are still represented at that level by these two distinguished gentlemen. What I know, whether the concession agreement is drafted by that board, I don't know. But normally,
Well, I think our guest is having
Yeah.
some kind of network issue. But again, folks, we want to say welcome to the show. Those of you guys joining us, you are listening to the Heat Hour program here on BKS TV. On the Heat Hour, we say dialogue and not confrontation. We say words and not bullets. In tonight's edition of the show, we are hosting former Representative Larry B. Yonkoi. And tonight, we are discussing Mental Liberia MDA extension. Siawete, welcome to the show this evening, Chief. How you doing?
I'm good, Gian.
Hey, I see my senior brother speaking series now. So if you're trying to speak series to me,
Yeah, bro. I was just about to say, what's up?
so just in case any of you want to speak series to me and I am going to see how it for me, I beg you. Ama, how you doing, my brother? Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much, Gian, and thank you. Good evening, Lorena, and good evening, Walker, and my own cousin, Sincerity. We'll say how's up to all of you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Lorena. Good evening and welcome to the show this evening. You seem to be a little busy on the phone.
Where she's muted.
I'm not on call. I'm talking, and that's why I put my phone on mute. I'm talking with somebody right by me. I'm not on call.
Oh, okay.
That's why I'm
Welcome. Welcome.
Thank you.
I think Onyokwa is back. Maybe
The data, they thinking hot data. They showing hot data. You can finish your data before yourself knowing.
Yeah, he touched few things here tonight. One have to do with the inclusion of those major mountains that were not captured in the previous MDA to be captured in this MDA. That's very, very key. Very important. Let's leave this whole mental thing. Let's think of the future generation. 30 years to come. I think many of us here have seen Boma picture or we have been to Boma before. We know what happened there. We have seen those areas. It's terrible for us. It's very terrible. A simple example is the Manima, that lake you got there, they call it Blue Lake. According to history, it came about based on the mining that was taking place there. Now that place is just there for tourism and nothing important will go on in that place again. So if you're looking at all the strategic mountains in Nima, you're giving it to a one company to operate. It's very, very serious. I don't know where we are currently with this whole thing, but I think we are heading back to the same old MDA we have. Before Mental MDA didn't capture important things in Nima. I'm coming, Ama. Those major things were not captured, but we had after the mineral development agreement, they had those community relation documents they signed with the community saying we'll build this, we'll do this, we'll do that. But when the time reaches and people start to engage them about those things, they will say these things are not included in the MDA. We are only doing it because of our social or corporate responsibility with the community. That's why we're doing them. But since we have the opportunity now, Peterson just asked a really, really, really important question. Who are those in that technical room representing Nima County? What were their input? What were some of those things that they suggested to be within our MDA? We are yet to know the answer to this question. Over to you, my brother Ama. Let's hear you shortly.
Thank you. Thank you. You see, like you rightly said, other counties like Lofa and other counties in Liberia, they are preserving their mountains to serve as national reserve. When Nimba is gone after 2050 or 2060, when many of us sitting right on the platform, we are no more here, we're forgetting to realize that with or without all Nimba will still move on and Nimba will still be Nimba County. And these are some of the things allegedly that the former minister of mine was dismissed because he have a serious objection to this matter, giving all of those strategic mountain, strategic resources to ArcelorMittal alone. It strongly contradict the interests of the people when it comes to transparency and accountability. When it comes to revenue generation, Nimba do not have now a strength to have that. Because man you, if we have those mountains open, you could have other companies coming. It will going to be like a competitions. We all know, for example, in the telecommunication sector, when you have Lone Star, have a total manipulations on the communications. In Liberia, you saw people were selling SIM card for $65. You saw when Orange came, at that time was called Telecom, Comion. And when all of those telecommunications companies came to the country, it became competitive. You have to drop your commodity. You have to meet the consumer agenda. You have to meet the national agenda that create national revenue to the country and the country. But today, we sit in the 21st century that everything is advanced, that we should not be making error that were made, even in the 60s, with the people that we can still put our blame on today. They never made that mistake to give all of those mountains to one company called Lanco. No, they never did that. But honor us today. You see, some of the time, I can just laugh because one of the critical voices I always disagree with ArcelorMittal is today the vice president of Liberia. At that time, I was a reporter at the legislature when he came to the legislature. In 2011, he was very bitter with ArcelorMittal. And even when he came on the floor of the legislature, he said, I lived in Yekepa before. In normal days, in the 70s, in the 80s, if our people at the time could compare a company to have electricity, to have street road, to have housing unit for the people, then in our time today, Honorable Speaker, that we have ArcelorMittal living, our people living, continue, that Jeremiah I disagree with it. But today he is the vice president. Has anything changed? The Nimba people will answer that. And the answer is very clear. There is a writing on the wall, people are not seeing it. And people are not correcting leaders. One of the major problems that we have in this country is that people are not just sincere. When it comes to this issue, I like to put politics aside. Because when it comes to a few years from now, Nimba will move on with our all. And the decisions that we make today will be very much critical to the survivability of our children. Many of us, we are born our children in this town. We have 4 years already.
Thank you. We will come back to you. Let's hear Siawete, then we can go to Madam Lorena on this issue. Siawete, welcome, Chief.
Thank you. I may give my time to Madam Lorena after I can come in. She online? Oh, okay. Okay. Well, Gion, like we are saying the same thing. What is happening require every one of us, mainly as institution and stakeholders. It require every one of us. It require everyone here on desk, because if you even look at the current leadership in the composition of the Senate, most of our members or our leaders are just floor members. If you can recall, after the death of Senator Johnson, because each of those major counties, Senator Johnson was chair on internal affairs, and they both senators, they were eyeing them, but Koga projected Nyam because he was, then the senator in the House. So most of these decisions are also made because we are now also on leadership. But let's get to the honorable. He's facing little internet problem from there. We'll have the conversation later.
Yeah, thank you. All right, Yonkwai, welcome back to the show, Chief.
He's still suffering, I think so.
Yeah, I think. Let me try to get to him. Siawete, you can take over, Chief. Go ahead.
Yeah, so some of these things, like the honorable rightly put it, the role of the vice president sometimes is actually difficult. And like my big sister Lorena always put it, if you feel you are a lawmaker and you are thinking about election, about people fighting you in 2029, then you are wasting your time, because the essence and the motive of you going to that house is to represent your people. Look, the MDA right now, that's one of the things our lawmakers need to look at. Like Honorable Walker said, and every one of us keeps saying, in the next few years, we don't know. We signed 25 years, though they have done an analysis or exploration, whatever they may say in the money terminology. We don't know when the resources will be depleted. But it clearly shows that one of these days we'll go out of resources. Today, Bombing Hill is there. So from what I see in the house, NIMBA actually is being fought. Because you even look at the composition of the leadership, like I said, our leaders that we have currently in the house are now on leadership. They are now on statutory position. When Senator Johnson died, before the honorable were coming in, the both senator was eyeing that position. Guess what the guys did? Quietly, they twatted that whole thing and they gave it to Johnny Kwe from Bon County. At the end of the day, nothing else Honorable had to do. He's struggling. Because if you look at it, say somebody that cheer on modernization and I know wetting in the house, what role is that? So he's just fighting his own way to see how best he navigating his way. Just like he's a smart gentleman and he's fighting his way. But I don't see our current legislature, meaning in the lower house, I don't see them. That's one of my concerns. And I actually wanted to ask the honorable, because if you look at the House of Representatives, from the way they are proceeding, I don't see them ready for the last two, 53rd, 54th. I don't see that fighting spirit in any of them. I don't see it. Because Honorable Massier is a seasoned geologist. He worked at the Ministry of Lands and Mines, but then as a director, he understands all of that. Today, what's his position? He's a current public work chair of public works. What recommendation is our legislative caucus? What position are they making? Because the thing is about, while it's true, it is about number, but it's about the information being provided. Because if we don't provide the information, it's time now that our lawmakers will read the MDA. They passed one, 2005, and they amended one in 2013. Those key points, you put it on book and present it to your colleagues. Because resources, at any point in time, it could be in other counties, they will need, the county's, position. At this point, NIMBA should remain firm. But most of them, they are just quiet as if election is today. And it's disappointing. They are not speaking out. You see Honorable Koga and Honorable Tuayen. Did you see the last time the Revenue Sharing Act? It was only Honorable Koga who was pushing that debate. And it's a sensitive debate. Where is the non-lawmakers? I did not hear any of them speaking. You have non-pressing, and they are the direct representation of the people. We are not hearing them. And the House of Representatives is critical, because the Senate, when I think go over there, 16 Senate is finished. But they got the number in there. If they send a signal to the senators, they can also lobby. Those are their colleagues as well. The only difference between them is just about, confirmation, that's all. But they get the same benefit, they have the same function. So for me, in my mind, there are a lot of work to do. But the MDA, the new MDA, there are a lot of things, even the budget formulation. Why will you see NIMBA as a county? NIMBA, with the population you got Phoebe, you got how you call the hospital in Bon County. They are all their budget is times 2. Sending Kule, Jidei Hali Hospital and other places. That's disingenuous to the country that had the resources. So I mean, it requires everyone comfort. For me, at this point, when we're discussing NIMA issue, it's not about party. That's why it's a NIMA platform. It's not about party. It's not about anything. It's about the reflection of the resources to the people. Today, I mean, all of what we are doing, if we don't take key note, at the end of the day, we become the victim. Because money that is being used today will not come back. One is gone, it's gone. So, I mean, we really need to look, the lawmakers need to speak out, to send a signal. For me, if I'm to recommend to conclude, NIMA lawmakers need to speak out. All of them, the 11 of them. The 11 of them. When you speak out, it will send a signal. If they don't sign that bill, it will also send a security signal to the company because they are direct representative. And Nenke don't sign. Semiana don't sign. He controls the twin track. Nenke don't sign. He got a mountain. Nyanflomo don't sign. He got a mountain as well. It will send a signal. At the end of the day, I mean, Mitana will come to the need and say, no, they think we got to come in. There will be some form of discussion. But if it remains with just politicians, everyone will have an interest. And where is NIMA interest today? People want to blame the vice president. No, for me, I don't really see it as that. We got direct representation. And the 2 senators are speaking out. Where are the 11 lawmakers? What are the rules? Is it to go and be divine model bar, to go and be having a lot of programming to push? That's not the position right now. So I mean, from that point, that's
my
why
representative you want to talk to because only my representative and
it don't imply to Koto. I mean, Koto doing well with the last time he went there. I mean, it's just generally what they do. And their function. They just feed our buying back of rest and other things. Those are their function. Those are humanitarian gesture to the people. But it's not constitutional mandate. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Lorena, welcome. Let's hear you on this.
Yeah, thank you, Junior, and good evening to all of you panelists. Good evening to our guests and those having some internet problem. Good evening to our listeners and viewers, and we say welcome again to one of the fastest growing talk show you can find on your internet in the Liberia community. So I wish the former lawmaker was here because I already have a question for him that I want him to answer. But besides that, on the issue of the MDA, I like when you are a policy person and there's a policy issue, your answer to that issue remains the same regardless who is favored. I said that to say I like the way Honorable Yonkwe answered the question I was asked by our host regarding in 2005, there was no name buying the executive. 2013, no name buying the executive. Now okay, name buying the executive. And I said the same thing on the show when Comrade Yelu was on the show. I said the vice president in his position will never take the airway to say, oh, I disagree today, I agree today. Or you will not go to a Facebook page to say X, Y, Z. Everything he does, even beside the MDA, he will do it maybe through somebody, or you go to the old man, they sit and talk. And that kind of vice president should be. Because why? The constitution that we have, the way it is, the way it position, the role of the vice president, that's why it should be. So I like the way he put it. But my problem, my frustration, my everything is with our lawmakers, especially the non-representatives. And I don't know why they are not talking. I don't know whether they stay on break. That's why they are not talking. I don't know whether it said that they are not read the MDA. That's why they are not talking. Or I don't know, they read it with another lens and they think everything is okay for NEMA. That's why they are not talking. But I want to say to the 9 representatives from District 1 to District 9, I'm excluding Senator Koga and Senator Toya because they have been speaking. And so we want the 9 lawmakers to join the 2 senators to push. Because if you look at the whole thing, it's like, I mean, it just, nothing is practically there for NEMA. And our lawmakers are just sitting. They are not saying anything, especially District 1, District 3, and District 8. It's not that the other people are not lawmakers of NEMA, but these are the 3 people who districts are affected, but they don't care. And so if like Comrade Yeru said, some of you saying, oh, we want to talk before the people candidate against us, I want you to know that that would be the biggest mistake you will make if you keep quiet because of 2029. Because that would be the point that will even use against you in 2029. Because this is time for you to speak. And I would suggest if you put all your points and say, and the X, Y, Z can do. Somebody was telling me that there are 8 counts that the lawmaker have. So if they cannot reach to a middle of the 8 point, maybe they say, okay, we'll do 4, we'll do 5. It will even be better for you to vote against the MDA. But that is send a signal to us, the citizens of NEMA, and to even the asthma matter that there's a problem. And we will appreciate if you vote no to it, if it remains as it is. Because there is nothing practically there for NEMA. And then I will also want to say, it is also time for our lawmakers and our county authority to start thinking on reinvesting. Whatever money we're getting now, for us to take portion of that money to reinvest, because we not always have the mountain. And so if we can start reinvesting now into other, thing we can call a citizen, group of citizens, different sector, and have a meeting, decide what to invest in, it will also help NEMA. Because tomorrow that money will not come, so will be like, which country should work for will be the country that only receiving the county development fund and will not have a social development fund coming again. So what will we depend on? All the more for talking and people hating us is because we're getting that extra money coming. So we should start thinking how where we can put that money for it to grow, for it to multiply, that we can depend on it just in case we don't have that coming. Other than that, I wanted to ask the honorable mayor, because he talked something about the social development fund being used for government projects, and he's a development pricing. Development is a development expert, and he was working with UNDP when they did a local government act. So I wanted him to tell us, the public, the panelists, whether there was, like demarcation or this money cannot be used for this project, so he can know, because this has always been the argument of plenty of people that come here, and some people take to their Facebook page and say, oh, they're using the American Social Development Fund for government projects. So which project is government and which project is not government, so we can be able to know them. Maybe it will serve as an education to us, but while some of us thinking that every project, in fact, is a government project. But people think that there are certain projects that are government that we should not use that money on. We really need that education. But on the issue of the MDA, I support him because he's discussing it as a policy person. He's not shifting blame on the lawmakers, because if he had shifted blame, I was reminding him of 2013, he had an opportunity to also do something. He did not do anything. But because he's discussing like a policy person and saying they should do this, let me remind them. So I will answer him that way, instead of making it political. What we're talking about, people talking things like, they want to shape blame. I think our lawmaker, the non-lawmaker, should wake up. The preacher man will say they should wake up from their slumber, but I would say they should wake up from their sleep. If they say on vacation, they should return from that vacation and read the MDA. If we cannot understand, because maybe the caliber of people you got in your office as staff, call NEMA lawyers, call PSC workers, then on WhatsApp, call people call Mafasin, call development expert, say, they think I want understand, please explain to me, Mano or Gio or Majinko. And no, and then so you can be able to make a point that will benefit Nima. You stop sleeping on us, lawmakers, especially now representative. That would be my point on this issue. Like, I mean, when you go, you just feel like nothing is happening, and which is true, nothing is happening. So why are they sleeping? Why are they quiet? Why are they afraid of? Who are they afraid of? Because they see it about Nima the same way we take a county lead. Every lawmaker pay 500 for the county team. The senator, the two senators pay 1,000 each. It's the same way everybody should come together. Forget about which party you are supporting. Forget about being opposition, in position, and hold together and say, this is about Nima. This is about the future of Nima. Because if we miss out on this one, I don't know when we'll correct it. So I want to say to be protecting again before we can come together again to say, oh, you're in your home, all of them get a great Toyota Jeep. You're your Toyota picker again to stop us to say this. It will not. It might be late. So now is the time for you to take action. Even if the action, even if you don't have the number, but the fact that it will be understandable to us, the citizens, that you did this in the interest of Nima, but you didn't have the number to win it. Thank you, Junior.
Thank you very much, DK. Let's hear you, Chief.
Thank you. To not just respond to say Lorena, I want to be interactive. Say
Go
Lorena,
ahead.
you say we should invest the money into something. The social development fund, the money, the royalty, and everything that come into Nima. We should invest it into something. Citizens should gather and discuss what to
I
do.
said
Then you make
some,
reference to
some there.
yeah,
So you can
yeah,
be
they
that
my
word.
time, they my time. You and myself what you say. I just want to be in a certain thing I don't hear correct. I want you to help me. They my own time that you and myself what you say. When I don't, you respond. So you say the song should be used for development purpose. Then you make reference to uh, people appearing here saying development, our money had not been used for the internal purpose because the local government act get exclusive right to the superintendent to use the money wherever she want to use it. So you encouraging her to go demonstrate because she not using our money the right way, all the money within all the local government. I say superintendent, anything that can in your mind, use the money on it. So I don't just understand. Just help me. Which one you want us to do as people in Nima? We give her chance to implement the local government act at her discretion, like what the law say, and she do it. Or you want us citizens to gather again and say, you know what? We want you to use our money this way, invest our money this way. What really you want us to do?
Okay, thank you. So maybe you were not following the show. Before I joined the show, because I was still on the car, just coming back from Nima, I was following the show. And one of the things that Honorable Yonkwa said was that the social development fund was being used to make two projects that are government project, even made reference to Ministry of State project. So there are two things I said. I said with the way the issue of the mountain going, with the way the MDA going and our lawmakers are either sleeping or still on vacation, it is about time that we use some of the money for everything there. We use some of the money, some of our social development funds to reinvest because we will not always have that mountain. That's it. And I said, I wanted to ask the honorable mayor question because he said that money, social development money will be used to do government projects. Since he's a development expert and you were the one who was doing UNDP in the house to do the local government act. So maybe there were projects that was set to say these projects are government projects that should be funded with national money or by national government. And these projects are projects that can be funded with social development fund. So there are two things I said. And this question is based on what the honorable man said in his deliberation. That's what I said, DK. I hope you understand me now.
Thank you. Thank you. I understand you. So my team is as a stand, whatever money NEMA get is at the discretion of the superintendent and the county council. Whether citizens gather and say, okay, we will reinvest, if that is not what is in their plan, we'll be heading our head. So if one is at their discretion, for me personally, I don't have issue. They let it can pay personal property because it's a law. So that why I don't criticize for fault. But if the superintendent fees that a district commissioner compound, paramount chief compound is better than being school in a district or being a clinic in a district and choose to do that, it's also fine because that's what the law say. The law give her exclusive right. But if people around her can say, you know what, they invest some of those things in a children in a clan that does not have clinic at all. They reassess schools across the country and feel okay, they reinvest in their school and do it better. If she feels that is good and what the council, because the thing is sometimes I don't bring her because when she do the proposal too and the council just have to approve it for her. So when she's doing the proposal, sometimes if she can consider this, it will also be fine. But if you think renovating zone chief compound, town chief compound, planning chief compound, and the rest is why is Nina in Lima. I also give her my 100% support. The thing with the lawmakers, I'm meeting that those lawmakers who are going to elections will never disagree publicly. And I think Yang is on. Yang put his chest up first. So Yang is trying to save his face. You don't go to elections with a history in Lima to publicly criticize. You criticize the executive, you criticizing the vice president. Most of them are afraid. I don't see any Lima lawmaker that have publicly opposed those things. Besides the two senators up there with ability. TAR is even careful. Moving forward, and the TAR is getting report in a district that you need to tune down. So everybody just have to play along the line so that what sometimes I don't blame them anymore. There's history in the country that the vice president and put people against you. That you prepare people in all the districts and put them against you. So anybody who is a smart politician knows this. You will play low and you will play according to a card. So I'm not saying this to hate him, but he had a history. And when you say anything publicly against the ruling party and against the current president, he feel that attack is targeted towards him. One of the things Larry said here, Honorable Yonkwa said here, that is clear that I know in my mind contributed to Waymo removal and subsequent replacement by Tingban is all of those mountains we're talking about, that they put everything together to do the deal one time. At the lens of my ministry, you need somebody that you can control. So I think women wasn't agreeing on so many things, so they had to kick me out to have somebody that they would say yes, sir. So everything that happened, to me, one is at the will and pressure of certain people is good. We go, but on anything I know in the world is when you dance, there's a quarter time. When you dance, there's a quarter time. There was Charles Taylor. Before Charles Taylor, there was other people. Then Robert Seri, then King. They left, they have all the money, but they don't have peace. So if people think they will exploit the poor people all the time, in which case everybody be singing hallelujah to you, there's a quarter time. You'll get all the money, you will not have peace, you'll be hiding all around there. That's what I tell you where I was at the end. Where I was at the. So all the people that are in the current government are benefiting and exploiting the poor people, keeping them poor to always go to their house and wait for couple rest. A quarter time will come. There will be a quarter time. When that quarter time comes, hey, sometimes those things impact live with even your children who are innocent. But how terrible the war is. So when you are governing, govern well. Outside of that, when you leave stigma and everything on the generation after you. That's the case in Lima and in Labua. So many things in our country now, right? The inner NDA. You can't put all our mountain together and just say one time. But if people rise up now, then we'll go back to the same story thing. Oh, Nima people. But those lawmakers who are brave, that say, hey, those people are ostracized. People see them as negative people. When you say you become an enemy of the country, so most of them decide to go quiet. That thing you take it seriously the way you are doing it. You think that you tune there. Your tune has changed. You can't do that. You do that, they will put Kennedy against you. And you go by and go sit down and be talking because you have a platform. Now, why are you doing that? But a lot needs to happen in the country. And why it's not happening, it's fine. So, so that's it, yeah, mama. Yeah,
Can't say your time, but you
go
have to tell
ahead.
us. That's it, tell it, second.
No, my time, if you give myself, you finish responding. I
So
close.
let's do
I
our
want
let
you myself to be cool.
You say they didn't understand something. Now I want to respond.
okay. So can
Can
you
I
do it in
say that?
can you do it in your
Okay, no
final
problem.
closing? Can you do it
No
in your final
problem.
closing? Okay. Now the whole MDA thing here, I think we are doing our best, and I want to say thank you to all of you for being here tonight. It's been a wonderful conversation. Now, Larry, I think he's having some network issues, so he might uh, schedule reappearance on the show so that we can discuss these things. Now, one of the things that we have to take into consideration here is rectification. At this point in time, it's normal game, and there is no other changes from what the executive has sent to the legislature. What the legislature can do is either they accept or they reject. And this is my honest appeal to them. You guys reject this thing. Because the previous MDA, those things that were mentioned have not yet been executed. Why is it that we need extension? That's a really important question we need to ask. Why do we need to rush with extension? I listened to Senator Nyatwain today. He said something very, very legit in his press statement. We got 4 years to go. Within these 4 years, gentlemen, we're not rushing with this thing. Let's look at this properly and know where this supposed to be and where this supposed to be before we sign it. Now, the reason why I want to shift a little blame to the vice president here tonight is that the vice president is at the executive. He's from NIMA. He knows the issue the people in Zolowi, Diagbala, Kiamfo, Zor, Geipa, all of those places, he knows the issue the people are going through. He doesn't ask a question here tonight. Who are those in the technical room that representing Nima County on this concession deal? We don't know them. We only know that the concession deal comes from the executive. Who do we blame in this case for Nima at the executive? The vice president. I know the vice president will not come public to say, yes, indeed, Mr. President, you have to do this. You didn't do it. But behind the scene, I mean, he's not working for the president only. He works for the people of Liberia. He works for the people of Nima. So if he cannot disagree with the president only because he's a president and the masses' interests are compromised, then I don't know where we're heading to. Democracy will make us to keep quiet. I thought we were meant to speak in democracy for the right thing to be done. But the vice president, people will say he cannot talk only because he's working under a president when he knows that the right thing is not done. Now, the 2007 MDA, something they captured there was 50,000 United States dollars for the mining and geology department at UL. At that time, we didn't have any university in Liberia, in Nima. Currently, we have a university in Nima that is offering mining and geology. They gave money to that university out of goodwill gesture. But we have an MDA that is not even capturing that university. It's not capturing that particular department. Then tomorrow we come and say, yeah, ArcelorMittal is doing good because they're taking little money from our pocket to give it to the institution, or they're taking little money from our pocket to build schools or renovate schools in Zolowi and other places to build clinics. This is terrible for us. And Senator Twain has tried his best, but I think, like DK said, he has been compromised too as well. Because the fact that he saw 200 million and 200,000 within the budget, and for him to not vote on that budget on the record, he left and went outside. I believe that he has been compromised too as well. He knew that signing this budget, that 200 million within that budget, it means you have already signed to the MDA. Indirectly, you have already signed to the MDA. So nothing you can do again. The executive sat there, draft MDA without capturing NEMA within the MDA. What can we do? The 11 lawmakers we have, even if they say they are not voting for that MDA, the rest of the lawmakers vote for it, it will still pass. Where do we head to now? The Zolowi saga. In the Zolowi saga, the other lawmakers who have not been talking, they will go there to go calm people down. Some of them will be arrested, and with principal arrested and put behind the pickup truck because nobody know them. They're not speaking. So it's terrible for us. For me, when I'm saying this, I think I get a little bit emotional because some of us were very, very small when we were living FE, that train track. We used to see the train passing. Right now, we are grown up. Some of us, we got kids. But yet and still, nothing has changed. So that's it. Peterson, let's hear you before we go to the other panelists to call it a day.
Thank you so much, Gian. You know, the issue about NEMA, those of us that are living outside NEMA, even when we are among our friends, nobody will introduce you. By the time you start taking some land, you get to know, say, oh, they people from NEMA, they always elect their county. And that's how you are labeled. What is happening, even though Honorable Yonkwe was trying to be diplomatic in all directions, especially when I asked the question about who are those making this decision for us. And we always keep bringing the vice president into this. It's just like the eye and the nose. If you hit the eye, the nose will run. And if you hit the nose, the tears will definitely come down. That's how the issue of vice president looks like. But in my opinion, to go with my comments, I don't want to absolutely blame the vice president for this. I will legitimately blame the chairman of the caucus who has become dormant. That is not, nobody is even hearing him. Let's take, for example, when Senator Johnson was the chairman of the caucus. When Senator Johnson lead a delegate in issue like this to the president listened. That was clear example with the scrap in NEMA. When it was getting tense, the entire caucus was led by the chairman of the caucus to the president. Madam Sali just gave it to NEMA. That's one thing there. Two, when the chairman of the caucus is not part of any meeting that is set to be held with the president does not give clear attention to that meeting. So the chairman of the caucus played a major role when it comes to such a dispute, especially issue like heavy issue like concession agreements that is originating from the county. So the chairman of the caucus need to do something about it. The vice president may be working behind the scene like Honorable Yonkwe tried to put it. If his work is not shining much, everybody will cry on his name. And if people will allude to us protecting something, because everybody will say, NEMA has something to protect. If you think about protection, it comes in diverse way. Protection in a set of business are different thing. Protection in the terms of politics, and somebody you say we're protecting, we have something to protect. If the politicians don't do better for the citizen, nothing there to protect. The citizen will kick it out. Example was with Grand Bassa County. When Senator Benson Garfino was there as Senate Pro Tem, and he had to go to a district to speak his own dialect. I mean, according to sources, I'm not from there. What it did, the people voted him out from from that level. Just imagine level of Senate Pro Tem. They brought in somebody who could not even held one how you call it committee here. It's just a signal to people that if you think you're in higher position and you want to use your influence in any means to silence or to suppress the citizen, clear example is citizens can interpret that, citizens can react in a different way. Having said it, we need to all know that people fighting this particular leadership we have, I'm of the strong conviction that is what happening. Look at Senator Toyens speaking, his analysis. Look at Onwokoga analysis. You know what is happening? If decision makers that are drafting this concession agreement would discount every one of them, the first higher voice was Senator Johnson. Senator Johnson is off the way. And the thing said these senators are pushing hard to see NEMA come together with a solid voice. Now they undermine them with everything, all benefits are supposed to come to NEMA. They scratch it out. The first thing, they just interpreting, just sending a message to NEMAians that we don't care, nobody here, we don't think anything can happen. So the best thing ever our lawmakers can do is to push, to show that message. If things cannot be clearly spelled out in our MDA, they can protest. That protest is squarely by not signing that MDA. The protest is just clear. But if they go and sign our MDA, they send a signal to the citizen that the vice president said we will sign it, and we will not sign it, it will be against him. It will interpret to people, especially what my brother Dick is saying, they will feel that it's truth. That they are working under the wings of the vice president. Therefore, when they not sign that document, vice president will have a problem with them. They need to protest. They need to stand up. They need to do something that will see G.W. Hardy Hospital is mentioned and relocated, or the treatment is relocated. We don't care for if they don't relocate the hospital. The county social development funds, we can look into it and say, well, we will not see our citizens die. We can relocate our hospital, but the train track should change. They should take the train track from beyond the hospital. That's one of the way. That's their operational expense. Take the train track from there so our citizens can live in peace. When they go to the hospital, they cannot be they cannot be killed by the sound or the vibration from the train. So
Thank
these
you.
are things that are critical we need to look at. And I want to say, as my closing comment, I want to say that they should not look at the vice president. We should not blame the vice president office for all of these things. They should stand up. If they don't stand up, as per Lorina's statement, I strongly agree with her. They should know that they have no space in NEMA activities because what? They don't care. They just care for their own interest. I want to end with that.
Thank you very much again. All bow downs to the chairman of the caucus. I think you put it right. He's not doing anything, but we will have a time to come and discuss it here on the show. Madam Lorena, if you are there, you can come. And I gave your 2 cents before we close. If you are not available, we can go to DK or Siawete, and then the next panelist.
Let me do that quick. CDC, Amma, you think your data strong? Will allow you go?
I'm not speaking because I may not get.
After the show, you pay me data, my poor data stealing, and I go reach out.
I will send you data. I will send you data. I will send data to you right away.
So Amma, go ahead before
Thank
you.
Oh no, I will send out the data anyway. The data will bring for you.
Okay. All right.
I told you, I will send you data. Amma, my movement will finish. Hit me or let me send your data. So yes, again, the sis Lorena, PSC, and all of us on this show, PSC, I hope that your schedule will permit you to come with all your expertise to help us. We're looking for some people like you that have the experience, the expertise, and everything to help us here every day. There are some guests that come here as financial experts. We are not from our background, so only Siawete is the only good guy here that play with We budget before finance. And in fact, see what they was saying, like, bro, they prepare all the MD and the current budget. We are not hitting him. Yeah. We are not hitting him sitting there quietly. So yes, a lot is happening in the country, and sometimes it's difficult. Take for instance, Koga. His approach might not look good, but every time he speak, he become an enemy of the current regime and the supporter and people from Lima. Oh, he causing confusion. So majority of our lawmakers in Lima have the issue that they are afraid to say it. You talk to them in private, they will tell you, my man, there people don't go out when and say the thing there. Oh, everybody say you opposing the vice president. So most of those lawmakers are not speaking because of that. That's a fact. And they will not speak because they don't want to be in a situation like Koga. So people will just go solo and just allow everything to flow. And the issue about election time, y'all lead our team, man. Election time, no guy who will come with money, will come with the current government backing. Some of them might not come back, but you come with the look in Nima now. You come with the vice president backing. You are at least 75%. You will contribute only 25% to win an elections in Nima. It's clear he did that for Yan and he did that for Koga. That's a fact. He did that for Koto. That's a fact. So three elections in Lima, send a vice president, became vice president, people that he backed, quote unquote, became successful. So why would a politician like me that want to go to election and be successful return will let to disagree when I know the history and everything? So most of them are not saying anything because you see anything publicly, they see is an attack on the vice president, his person, his political career and everything. And that there are groups all over the place that the group is to the one Nima movement, the group to protect the vice presidency. We can't let it slide. The group they think you're closer to whom they protect it, they come. So you get all that thing, and you don't know who will Trump patrol bomb on your scene line in the net as a lawmaker. Before I tell you about your position. So everybody will just let to be around our circle, whether it benefit the larger population, but you just have to play how people play chess. How people play chess. So most politicians will say, you know what, I can go to the war battle with it without shooting a bullet. I don't have to say anything. Every evening I go to the vice president and pay my respect so that I can't get in trouble because it might not come from him directly. It might not be the vice president that will say diplomatic, that's what will say anything publicly. But there are people around the vice president, all over supporter everywhere that say nonsense to people all over the place. Oh, my man, you say something here that vice president you'll be going against you. You do that, I mean, you'll be a target, and you are giving, you are this. So most people who are in authority now are afraid before they later then in that manner and form. So that's why everybody's saying something. Take for instance, my brother never got to say. Never say anything of poor my people every against him. Never already get Anthony Quinn back. Why honest will say? Honest will not say honest only had two people on the bench that warm me all every day, better and Prince Bill. Why honest will say? And so it go across the district. Those things might not come from the vice president himself. But honest say something and better go to the man, the man is he become radical and vice president, people you can't stop me. That man leave on in front of Kun and go and start doing his stuff. What Kun will do, for instance. So some other thing is we are saying it and me that here I will say particularly I'll start pushing it all the time towards him so that he can do more, so that he can call the people and say, y'all speak out. People are blaming me because you're not speaking out. Y'all speak out for Nima because when you're not speaking out for Nima, people are blaming me. Then be public with them. Then say it. Other than that, me, where I will keep saying those lawmakers are not speaking because they are afraid Kun will poke Kennedy against them. If VP Kun is not like that, then encourage them to speak out. Let them speak out. Any lawmaker that is not speaking to benefit Nima and anything, they are afraid because VP Kun have Kennedy to replace them. Until
Thank
that
you.
narrative change, that means the VP had to change that. Thank you. Say Lorena, I know you're not getting anything to say. Good.
Thank you so much. We'll go to Lorena to make a point after that before we go to Aman and they will take us home.
Okay, thank you so much. It was a good show, and there is no time better than now to discuss the MDA since it's still uh the legislature. So I will start with something from DK because I think DK did not understand the answer to his question. So in there's something they call moral obligation. When you owe someone moral obligation, it means you support them, you know. So I owe the superintendent of NEMA a moral obligation because we are persons. So because of that, I will not even call for protest against her. So there were two things that I said, but you didn't understand it. The honorable lawmaker was talking about social development fund is being used for government projects, and he said Senator Coker has been talking about it, and he said he's talking it, but for him, he's not in authority. And so that's why I was saying I wish he was still on the show so he can tell us which projects are government projects and which projects are not government projects that can be funded with social development fund. That was one. Then in the context of the agreement, everything that we started discussing since the info yesterday, I was also suggesting to our leaders that I think it is about time that some of the social development fund will start to reinvest it. And the way I know I'm doing international development, that's why I'm doing my second master in. So I'm thinking beyond the mountains. I'm thinking into the future of NEMA, 25 years, 30 years, and 50 years. So we're not all be waiting for people to come and mine our mountain, take billions of dollars and give us some kind of million, and then we use it to do projects. But we can take some of that money now and reinvest into other things, and then it starts to grow. That's what I meant. So on this show, to close, I will say this is a good topic, and we can even talk about it the whole week because we need to keep holding the feet of our lawmakers to fire. They are not speaking, and I say again, if anyone is thinking of 2029, then it shouldn't be in the house. And what somebody say, I think DJ said they quiet until the VP tell them to speak. They will not speak. Was it the VP that told the superintendent to speak the way she spoke when they had our delegation in Yekepa? When she spoke and said the agreement, the situation, the condition, like we were honored that the MDA was signed the first time. Now the third time, those conditions are improved. So those things should be improved. Was it the vice president speaking to her? I just think she had the platform to talk, and she talked for NEMA. So in the same way, our lawmakers, they already have that platform. By the time one lawmaker, they have on a Facebook page, I will address a meeting at 2 o'clock. Everybody will be looking for data to listen to them. They already have platform to be able to push for NEMA. So if you don't push for NEMA, and if you're only receive because you think 2029 you'll be replaced, how do you even know the man of the vice president? So are you telling the people that the vice president is against the interest of NEMA? If there is any interest of NEMA that must be protected by NEMAians, is the MDA, is the mountain we are discussing. The same way we came together and buried Senator Johnson, it was the biggest funeral ever, maybe in West Africa. And the same way we usually come together to support our contest and teams, it's the same way we must come together, lawmakers, paper writer, keke writers, whoever you are, to make sure that NEMA has something in this MDA. So if we keep quiet and we just talk, and our talking will not do much because we don't have that voting right in the heart. But so you are the one who will put forward what we are saying to you, especially Honorable Musa Berete, my lawmaker. You have been talking, and I say kudos to you. I want you to talk more and do more. And on that day, if they don't do things in the interest of NEMA, I encourage you, I suggest that you don't vote for the MDA. The people of second people who will say, yes, our lawmaker, he didn't vote because it was not in the interest of NEMA. It would be far better than for you to vote because you got 2029 to protect. And I think the same way every citizen should come out and hold our lawmaker responsible because they see, we may you will say, oh, but why are they even rushing to sign the table? Yes, I have 4 or 5 years. So I think that the okay, we'll discuss it later. It's no matter what okay, they get a signature bonus. Yeah, giving the bonus does that mean we must sign it this year? We got 2027, 2028, 2029. So I mean, it should still be discussed, and then the right thing must be placed in there that will benefit our county. Thank you so much, and I hope we can discuss it more, and I hope we can also discuss the budget. I don't know whether the person has signed the budget or not, but we're in January. So technically, I would say maybe it's signed, but we don't. It's not yet public.
Not signed the budget yet, Lorena.
Yeah, what I say now, listen to what I say he has not signed it, yes or no, but we are in January. So what they say the 12% that we're going by. So I think we should also find time to discuss it. We got 2 people that will help us with it, and Walker and the board who can be speaking to me. They feel they know, they will tell what is happening with the budget. So we can also know anything. Other than that, good night to all of you. Also, I'll stay until we can close the show, but that is it for my end.
Thank you very much. So on Sunday, we will be hosting Representative Musa Hassan Belete here on the show. He has a lot to discuss about this MDA thing. So hopefully all of us will be here to discuss it too as well. And I'm a little bit shocked on Jan Flomo and Neka Gay, but we'll keep that for another day. Amma, let's hear you.
Thank you, Junior. You see, everything that we are saying here, for every time when I say the entire MD is a done deal, it is for a serious reason. Because some of us will be in the legislature for long. Junior, some of the major reasons that the president has not signed the national budget, is not printed into handbill to turn to law, is because of this CMD. Because the 200 million capture in the national budget, if we cannot sign this now, meaning that the horse will definitely, the president will send the budget back to the horse, and the budget will go to recast, where there will be adjustment, alignment, many people's budget will be reduced. And they do not want their budget to be reduced. You think Rachel Kuhn want for her budget to be reduced right now? You think, you call it a deputy speaker, my own very good friend, who anything I need, he gave me. Thomas Fala, you think he want for a budget to be reduced? You think many ministry line agencies, like the road are connecting from Douala straight to the Minister of Finance, you think they want for that budget to be reduced? The people at NIMBA, we are just talking here for talking sake. Like recently, if you can recall, the president met with the NIMBA County Legislative Caucus. Who were in that room? The men that you saw, every one of them, they laughing, even they taking photo. You don't see any seriousness. At that time, it was before the MDB for it to be submitted. The president sent for the NIMBA County Legislative Caucus. The men that you saw who were able to stand in front of Joseph Boakai and say, because of this for NIMBA, we will remain silent. Charity, I think at that time you were in a horse. You can remember? There was issue of this particular accelerator when it came in the horse. All non-NIMBA lawmakers walk out of the house, walk out of session that day. You can recall that? And it caused serious national attention. The speaker had to stop the entire session and close the session for a certain time and go to an office, invite all non-NIMBA lawmakers for them to return. Do we have the legislator now that have the guts, that have the spine to stand up and say, because of this, you don't know it's a shame, NIMBA is a laughter now, that people will be missing. Yekepa of 1980 and 1970, missing Yekepa of those days, and not even Yekepa of now. Nobody can miss Ganta of 1970 and 1980 as compared to Ganta of 2005. But you know, when people that travel, some of us that will just, how you call it, go over there, come back because our father, they were working there, we were stationed in Morovia. At that time, we were not that men enough. But people that even leave, our ancestors, that when they even leave from America today, some of them will went there. Cause you and cousin Alice, there you all together the other day, she told me a lot about you. When they go to Yekepa today, they feel sad for them to move in Yekepa. And see, one of the... No, it's serious. It's a serious issue, Lorena. This is very serious. When it comes to our country, and you see, one of the things that we're saying is, many of the people today that are in the house, you see some of the things that are saying, everything that is happening today, they blame the trickle-down effect for some of us that understand romance tracking and race communication. The trickle-down effect will definitely go against VP Kun, because all of the affected people then, they believe now that when any lawmakers speak, they will say they are against VP Kun. And it is just going into the minds of the people, on every radio station. You track anything, they say the lawmaker can't talk now because when they talk, the VP will think that they're against them and they will pull Kennedy against them. So they cannot speak. They don't want to be like Koga for them to say he against the government. You know, people, many, they are silent, angry people. These are the people that many people don't understand. They are very difficult to calculate when you are doing data calculation in race communication.
Thank you.
And it is very key, seriously. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Siawate, take us home, Chief.
So, Bodo, I wanted to say something. So, Mr. Walker was talking about who have in a room. The Deputy Minister for Development of Ministry of Finance, where is he from?
He's from Nimba.
Okay, so I think those are some of the people who have in the room. So because he's from Nima, and I think he definitely was in that room when that paper was written. Like on one question, I think the president was tired. I guess the other one was talking the talk also. The president.
Sorry, I think that is it should be to the attention of the board. Because when you read the
I think the Deputy Minister of Finance had nothing to do with accelerated MD development. I think it is the company that can prepare it.
Duties of the board, you see that they are like somehow committed to some of these things. I'm not too sure, but from what I read, they should have some knowledge as to what coming up. You know, the next, the government, their government eye directly with the company. That's what I was asking that.
When the company prepares it does not come from the company straight to the legislature. It goes to the executive and the president.
Yeah, exactly. I agree with you. I agree with you on that. Absolutely.
Siawate, go ahead, Chief.
Thank you, Gio, and thanks to all of the previous speakers. Like I've said, I maintain my ground at the current Nima Legislative Caucus is actually dormant in terms of leadership, to be frank with you. Look, if you goes to the vice president office today, with no disrespect, the current caucus chair is the most visited lawmaker to the vice president office. until he don't even get space to citizens that goes to meet the honorable. I'm telling you something very serious. Today, if you go to the office of the vice president, it's dominated by lawmakers. Lawmakers that should be going to the executive mansion, getting connection to the executive mansion to get job for their citizens. but they are so complacent about just having a smooth relationship with the vice president. Big brother, it's unfortunate. You are not in Liberia. You are not in Liberia. We were there. Ahmad saw it, said Lorena see it every day. Citizens want to go and meet the leaders. But I mean, with no disrespect to Honorable Mena and the folks, you see them just going to you already in capital building. You had the connection, you had the willpower to mistake actors to make things happen. That's why it's happening to the current MDA. What? Look, if they continue that, will not benefit anything. If NIMBA don't make their position clear, nothing will happen. Because it's a national process. It's a national. I don't even know how to classify against NIMBA, because anything that has to do with NIMBA is being looked at in a different form and manner. So the only way we can do is to strategize on how to persuade the rest of the folks. Up to now, if you listen to Honorability the last time, you saw that he said they are not even have major caucus meeting. Can you imagine? 2 years gone.
God.
2 years. So what serious caucus do we have? What serious caucus do we have? We don't. So Honorable Tuayen is just speaking. When he speak, Honorable Kogatu go and speak. So I don't know whether the caucus chair, whether the function is actually being a TOR, is being local, because the caucus chair should be someone that will actually be brother. You been over there, right? The role of that's why Senator Johnson, the man used to joke with a caucus chair business. You go or you can't done. You who say you can't, the man will be caucus chair, because that's leadership. That's one thing we made Senator Johnson for. When they scrapped Beneki in 2013, at the time on Oduna in the house, I traveled with him on most of these occasions. Senator Johnson used to be clear because his voice. But we don't have any vocal leader right now besides Koga and Tuayen. The rest of the non-guys, I mean, I don't even understand them. They are they visit the vice president more than any other citizen in Nima. So, sometimes I don't understand what's really happening. And I can really feel for Senator Tuayen and Honorable Koga. Honorable Koga now is being, he's an amateur guy. When he speaks, sometimes he look at it in the other way. Honorable Tuayen too, he's there. He's in between. He's with the government. And secondly, he's going to re-election. Some of these things, he got a very high IQ, but how do he place it the way he wants to? He's burning in him. To be frank, the other day when we blasted at him here, when he came back on the show, he made a lot of things explicit on the platform. But we know the position that he's facing. Why will Naked Game, my own big brother said that the mountain is in his district, huge portion. On Onyan Flomo, who is to be part of the civil society, who speaks and writes very well, chairman on education. But all of them, when they not speak to the vice president in a weekend, and nothing not happen. So it's just, you don't hear any of them, only because they are going to re-election. So when people come and they want to blame the vice president, that's what pains me, because the lawmakers are the one who should put out the issue there. So they are going to the vice president. What message are they carrying? I thought they should go be briefing the vice president. Oh, this is the argument we are pushing. They may not know all. They may have the national conversation to have to focus on a lot of things happening in the country. But today, you see them, soon again, you see where citizens want to have conversation, you will not find it. The current caucus leadership is dormant. The entire Nima legislative caucus is dormant. So we will not get anything from them. You will not get anything from them. We will not get anything from them because they themselves are not playing the role. Everybody focusing on election. When is election? 4 years from now. And if today a referendum comes that the year of a lawmaker be reduced to 4 years, I'll be the first person that will vote. Because maybe when it's 4 years in other countries, the 4 years, and people can be thinking that they are right about to go to election. I think that's how other countries develop. But the guys got 6 years. After 6 years, after 4 years, they will still get, after 2 years, they will still get 4 years. So they are complacent. What's the emergency of even the MDA right now? What's the emergency? Why are we? Because the first thing when they brought out 200 million the last time I said it, I was very clear that the issue of that 200 million At 200 million, if Nima cannot get her share, will not get it any day. But other people's argument was about the fiscal bill. Why is fiscal bill? Fiscal bill is not a law. Fiscal bill is just a regulation that guard the expenditure arm of the expenditure aspect, how it will be guarded to spend. That's what the fiscal thing is. It's not about getting it before expenditure, but it should be appropriated and projected in the budget. It wasn't. But today we are left with a scalp, only because politicians try to scrap it. But Nima continue to remain at a disadvantage, if only because of a lot of things. When people speak out, I mean, unclear. Oh, I mean, no. When it comes to conversation now, we should see how Nima to benefit. Even the in spending our resources, it got to do with every one of us. Yonkwe, I mean, he might have his own problem. For what I know of him, he's a very tough talking old man. Sometimes he's moved by emotion, but he speaks a lot of logic. Former lawmakers like Duna, Yonkwe, those are people like Yeruden, those are people, the current lawmakers, at least call them. They're not teaching you. It's just about getting idea, but they are not doing it. Everybody feels they knows all. People today, if I sit down in class, what I used to do, I can call my friends who used to be there. I say, my man, what you used to do? Please send me your formal note. I compare it. And when you compare it, they will guide you. But sometimes I don't know what is happening. People who come from area like maybe our county, everybody feels they are on top of everything. Like on our 2IN, he's trying his best. Like I keep saying, on our Koga, they are trying their best. It was on our Koga who raised that revenue sharing law the last time, and it became a debate. He alone, what can they do? If Nima alone can get 20 million, county the river said, will you think Francis Dopo, who is a highly learned person, will support Koga in that kind of debate? Because he don't have any face to fry. But Francis Dopo came and supported Koga, but he differed on the issue of fiscal bill. But if it was River said that even 2 million going, he will raise on our argument that, oh yeah, Nima, River said need this money. But today, all of those things were put around it. At the end of the day, we will not get anything. That 200 million, even the MDA, for me, I don't even like to discuss it, because why else are we going to discuss? Nima is at a disadvantage. The 200 million, where we should have had the 10%, we don't have it. When will we sign another signature bonus to have that? So for me, I don't even like to discuss the MDA. The MDA, the 5 million, we'll just live with it. The clauses that is there, I mean, I don't know how they even repeal. I know in what legal terminology or what I know amend or repeal or what at the end of the day. But to me, in my mind, the way it is, because if you don't want something, if you want a real thing to happen, when you say, okay, my man, keep that money. After the conversation, then of course we'll know what to do. But the money has already been projected in the budget. What else you expect?
Thank you.
So it just, so I mean, the show, it was so unfortunate that we could not have Yonkwe completing the show of us, but he did well. Probably I know he's in Gipo. That's why he could not, or Morovia, some part of Man Bagley there, that's why he could not jump. But to conclude, the legislative caucus need to work. That they reduce it too much visitation to the vice president here and leave him with the other people and focus on the role. That they have meeting. That they got meeting. No meeting. How will they come out with conversation in the country?
Thank you.
That's what I just say.
Thank you so much, Sewete. Thank you guys for being here tonight. On Sunday, we'll be hosting on our Musa Hassan Belete.
John, 1 minute, please. Tomorrow, I don't know whether at this
tomorrow.
Yeah, tomorrow we got Mr. Odysseus Dekpa, the former representative candidate of District Number 9. He will sit on the show tomorrow. So we'll get a conversation tomorrow as to what he want to say regarding District 9 and the training and politics in Nimba and other what he had to say. He will say that tomorrow. So I will send his name and the information in the chat room tonight, Gian, so he can do the publication. Okay. Thank you.
All right. Thank you guys so much for being here tonight. Former PMC chair, Mr. Peterson Walker, thank you for being here tonight. Madam Lorena Donke, the policy expert, thank you for also being here. Former journalist and a politician. former journalist, a politician, and a civil society. I know I should say expert or Can't get stand. They using
Wow.
CDC, they use charity. It's been a wonderful conversation. Have a blessed time.
Thank
Thank
you.
you, Gino.
Thank you.